Hello, welcome to JAV Show. This is Jorge.
And this is Viv.
And yeah, this week we be chilling still.
What's up, guys?
Yep. How's your week, Viv?
It's been pretty normal.
I see you're wearing your thing, whatever that thing is on your finger.
Oh, yes. So I am currently wearing, or I took it off, but I'm currently wearing my, what is this called? Like a brace that my physio gave to me for my finger when I broke my finger like a year ago, or maybe a year and a half ago.
Wait, did you see her recently? Is that why she gave it to you?
No, this is from my previous one. It's just that I noticed recently in the last couple of weeks, every single time I play volleyball, my joints fucking hurt. My tendons and my joints, everything just fucking aches. And right now, I think it's my PCL. It hurts quite a bit. I think I strained it somehow a little bit, and then my hands hurt.
Are you
quite a bit? So
how often do you play?
I play 3 days a week.
I see. Yeah, I don't know. I'm fortunate that ever since I played a lot less and I've been training a little bit differently, my knees never hurt now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the part of my knee that hurts shouldn't hurt though.
Yeah.
According to volleyball, because it's the back of my kney.
Oh yeah, okay.
And on my right leg.
Maybe it's like start stopping.
No, it shouldn't be that though.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I have
so
no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea how I hurt it. But anyways, the reason why I'm wearing this is because my fingers and my hands have been hurting every single time I'm done playing volleyball. So I'm just putting this on as like a precaution.
Yeah. Okay.
So my finger doesn't regress a little bit more.
That makes sense. I mean, you could always have the little Voldemort finger.
Yeah, that's true. Fucking when I first showed it to some of my teammates.
Yeah.
Gabe, he doesn't have a nickname on here.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure, right?
He doesn't.
Gabe was like, "Yo, that looks like the Elden Ring artifact."
Oh, yeah.
There's a fucking finger. I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, if we can't make fun of each other's deformities, are we friends?
You're right. That's so true. Right? I can't call you
a artard?
Yeah. Rstar did it.
I mean, I don't think that's offensive. If I had an autistic friend, I think he'd be cool about it.
I would hope so.
I feel like
I'd be cool about it if I was the autistic friend.
No, I feel like how people treat them are like, oh, they're so fragile and shit, and then they're just having fun. Just chilling. They're just chilling. They just want a good time.
I think sometimes they're even smarter than people give them the benefit for.
Yeah. Like sometimes they just it's. I mean, this comes from a comedian, but I can kind of see the resemblance. He's like, dude, 2 things autistic guys like: WWE and boobies. I was like, that sounds about right. I mean, even if you weren't autistic, that's not even far off. If you just said a guy and you had to assume what this guy likes and he's just a normal guy, I feel like boobies is a pretty good guess.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And then WWE is if you're in North America, it's not far off of a guess.
That's true.
I feel like a lot of North American dudes probably like that. Or if they don't like it, they don't dislike it, right? They're just indifferent about it. So your guess isn't far off. If you said, "Oh, this guy likes guns," they'll be like, "I don't know." There's some left wing guys who are probably against it and stuff like that. Yeah. Or if you said the guy likes chicken wings, I was like, okay, probably 80% of the guys do, but there's probably a solid 20%.
Okay, I feel like chicken wings is pretty solid argument compared to WWE.
That's true. It's probably a better argument than WWE. I'm just trying to think of other random shit that would probably be a worse argument than WWE.
I know.
Okay.
Gaming.
Yeah, true. Not all guys actually like it.
I was gonna say that would be the same as saying WWE.
Oh, some guys are indifferent about it. Okay, here's another one. Cars. I don't think all guys are actually into cars. They'll see a nice car and they'll think it's cool, but they won't be like, oh yeah, that's a fucking Type X whatever bullshit with a whatever horse. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not a hobbyist.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty good guess.
That's true. If I was disabled in some way, shape or form, I wouldn't want my friends or family to treat me that differently.
So what I learned from listening to Nolan for the Neuralink podcast, the guy, the quadriplegic who has the first Neuralink, I feel like all they want is normalcy and the freedom to do things. Right? Especially being a quadriplegic, they just want to be able to live their life. But I feel like part of that is just wanting normalcy, right? They don't want to have to ask their mom to go on the computer all the time. They have to, right? Just because of the situation. Like not specifically their mom, but like their caretaker or whatever, right?
That's true.
So it's like I feel like the more you can just like banter with them, the more normal they'll probably feel. Right. That's how I assume. Instead of like treating them as like a fragile thing.
Yeah.
That's probably what they don't want. Right.
I'd imagine that to be the case too.
So yeah, that's what I think at least. But anyways, the finger, eh?
Yeah. So I've just been taking a little bit of precaution. I don't really want to go back on glucosamine. I've been off of glucosamine it's a supplement for like 4 months now, probably.
What's the assumed benefit of glucosamine?
It lubricates your joints.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But yeah, I've been off of it for about 4 months, and I'm not sure if that's a cause, but when I'm on it, I don't notice any like soreness or any aching pains in my joints. And then like this is the second time I've weaned off of it from taking it as a supplement for about like a year or a little over a year. And every single time I wean off of it, like a couple months later, I won't even be thinking about it, but I'll start feeling it in my bones. And I'm like, what's going on? And I'll remember, oh wait, this is like, I'm off of glucosamine. Maybe that could be the case, but I don't really want to be dependent on it, because the reason why I went on it was because my joints started hurting. Everything started hurting. So
yeah. It's so tough for supplements because they're not like as well studied. Like not all supplements are as well studied, right? There's like very specific ones like, whey, protein, creatine, amino acids. I feel like those are like really well studied. But I assume these other ones, it's just so hard for them to devote money into it because there's no one that can really sell it for a crazy amount of money, right? Because it's a supplement. You can't patent it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I think
maybe I wanted to get into the habit of drinking bone broth every morning.
Oh yeah.
For like health benefits, maybe that'll help with my joints and everything. But then I got lazy from making soup all the time, so I only kept it up for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not sustainable, that's the biggest thing. Like I always try to find the habits that are. So like you have to, or I have to like reduce the barrier of entry or like the barrier to actually do it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like certain supplements, because they're not that expensive, that barrier is gone, right? It's like your multivitamin, your vitamin D, your magnesium. Those things are just so cheap. Or like creatine too, where it's like the barrier to entry is so low, or like the barrier to make you not do it is so low, right? I think that's important to part is like what's the barrier to make you not do it, rather than like how to actually do it, right? So like if the barrier to not do it is so low, then it just becomes like, oh yeah, like why not? Right.
I agree.
But yeah, it's true. Like I guess I'm pretty I wouldn't say dependent, but I also take a lot of shit. And
what do you take right now for your supplements?
Well, I take a lot of shit, but I think like it's so like vanilla compared to a lot of people.
But what is it?
So I take whey protein, whatever that is, and then I have a shake where it's like EAAs, essential amino acids, creatine, and collagen. All I think very like standard basic shit. And then my pill supplements is fish oil, a multivitamin, the Kirkland Men's multivitamin, magnesium. One of them, I forget which one. I think it's
biglycinate.
One of the ones that are good.
Yes.
Yeah. Vitamin D.
Okay.
The only two things I take that aren't vanilla, one's ashwagandha.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's like the potentially boost testosterone. It's studied, it's not well studied, but I was like, it's not that expensive either. So I was like, just buy a bunch. And then choline. Choline I think is the other bougie one, but I think everyone should take it.
Why?
It's just you just can't get enough. Like I think I searched this recently with Joyce because I was telling her like, oh, this is a game changer here. Choline requirements. Okay. So remember back then I did a huge like vitamin study of like what's essential that you actually need and like what should I be taking or what I'm missing, right? And I found I found out that choline was the one that people don't think about the most. Like everything else is kind of everywhere, right?
Did you get your results from that blood test that you took?
I didn't take a special blood test.
Oh, you didn't fucking take that?
Yeah, I didn't take any special blood tests.
You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Not really.
The one that tells you, oh, these are all the vitamins and nutrients that you're deficient in.
It's the folate, or not the folate.
Forget the name.
Fuck, that's gonna bother me to forget the name too. It's like your metabolic whatever thing to see what you can actually process.
Yes.
It's a genetic test, so it's not a blood test. But you can do a blood test for some of it. But so the genetic component, I don't have any of those issues. So like, I was like, okay, good. Like that's not a problem. Like the thing is, I think one of the podcasts was talking about how it's like folate. Some people can't actually process it, so they need like a different form of folate. And then the fact that they can't process it actually causes them high blood pressure and all these other issues, or could potentially cause them just due to the mechanisms of that nutrient. And then if you took the other form of it, I forget what it's called. Fuck, let me search it up. Folate. It's like the difference between folic acid and this other type of folate. But yeah. Fuck, let me see. Folate processing disorder. What is this called? Yeah, the motherfucker gene, MTHFR. yeah, MTHFR is an inability to process folate, can raise levels of homocysteine, which causes high blood pressure and all that stuff. And then the only way to test this is through your genetic testing to see if you have the MTHFR gene, the variation of MTHFR gene that causes you to not be able to process it, and then you have to take a different version of folate. So like I think the normal way of it being processed and it being taken turns into like folic acid and all this other shit, but then this one's already like a digested version. It's like the base version of it. It's kind of like the difference between amino acids and protein. It's like the base version of it. That's the thing with folate, with the motherfucker gene and stuff. I went through a bunch of these, but I think I checked my genetics. I didn't have any of this issue. I didn't think I'd have these issues because I don't really have any blood pressure issues anyways. But it is genetic, so like my dad does, so I probably will have it in the future. But isn't that kind of fucked? It's like, oh, your dad has it, you're probably gonna have it. I was like,
yeah, you're kind of fucked regardless of what you
do. Can we do something about this? They're like, no, it's genetics. I was like, no fucking way, man. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, choline's the big thing. And how much choline do you need? I forgot. It was some like stupidly ridiculous number. Okay, so I don't completely remember the numbers right now. But I remember it was you needed to eat 4 large eggs a day to get it.
Yeah, damn.
Okay. Wait. So do you see the recommended amount here somewhere?
Why don't you just find it on the page?
Here are the recommended values. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, there you go.
Where is it? Adult min 550 milligram per day. Okay. So choline is an essential nutrient, meaning your body can't make it. So you have to like eat stuff or take supplements in order to get it, right? So like vitamin A through whatever K, like this is one of them, right? And then, so remember that number. For me, it's 550 milligrams. For you, it's 425 milligrams.
Sick.
Okay. And then foods with choline, if you have beef liver, 1 slice is 290 milligrams. How often do you eat beef liver? Like for me, never. Yeah, I never fucking eat it.
I've never had it in my life.
Okay, 1 large boiled egg will get you 113 milligrams, and I need 550, right? So that means that's about 4 large eggs a day, which to most people I think is not normal. Maybe if you're like a bodybuilder or you just like you get an insane amount, right?
Oh shit.
Yeah. So, but then the next thing down is fish. But think about how much you have to eat. 3.9 ounce of fish. So that's 110 grams of fish only gets you 62.7 milligrams. Okay. Yeah. So if you only ate fish and you didn't eat any eggs, just for example, then you would need 425 divided by, was it 62.7? You need to eat 6.7 times 110. You need to eat more than half a kilo of salmon just to get your amount of choline. Right. Okay. Now I get it. Other stuff has it, but they have it in such small amounts. So like you could probably eat half a cup of broccoli a day.
That's I eat broccoli like every other day almost.
Right. But could you but a half cup a day is probably normal for you, or do you think that's low?
Oh wait, that's only 30.
That's only 30 milligrams, but you need 425 a day. Right? So that's what I'm saying. Even with
a huge ass bowl of broccoli,
I think
veggies every day.
Yeah, I think when I was doing this whole like self-study on nutrients and stuff, I found out that of all the other vitamins, the stuff that people normally eat, like rice, meat, and all that stuff, you could get most of your micronutrients, and whatever you can't, that Centrum or the Kirkland brand multivitamin actually covers the rest, except for choline. Choline was the one thing I was like, oh shit, you actually have to eat like a stupid amount to get the minimum daily recommended. And that, I mean, I know there's some like iffy parts on the recommended, but I always think like recommended is probably like your minimum requirement. So you probably want like a little bit more at least than that, right? So then this like of all the things I take, I think that's the one big one is like the choline that other people don't take. And like what choline does is it helps your skin, your nails, and your other shit. But it's still essential. It's still something your body can't produce on its own, and it's still required.
How so? How does it help your skin and nails and stuff?
Let's see the benefits.
I like my skin and nails.
Serves many functions in your body. So cell structure is needed to make fats that support the structural integrity of a cell membrane. Cell messaging. Okay, this is very cellular level.
Wait, I like learning about this though. Keep going.
There is the other stuff I read about.
You skipped it.
Oh, I skipped it? Where is it?
I know. I want to read. I want to learn about all this.
Oh, okay. So choline plays an important part in many processes in your body, including cell structure. So it helps the integrity of your cell membrane. Cell messaging is involved in the production of compounds that act as cell messengers. Fat transport and metabolism is essential for making substance required for moving cholesterol from your liver. DNA synthesis, choline and other vitamins such as B12, folate help with the process that's important for DNA synthesis and a healthy nervous system. So it's required. It's a nutrient that's required to make acetylcholine, an important neurotransmitter. It's involved in memory, muscle movement, regular heartbeat, and other basic functions. But regardless of that, the basic thing that I brought out of this was that, okay, like all those facts are true, but the big thing is like it's an essential thing, so that means you can't produce it. So there's no way you can get any except if you eat it. And then the second big thing was that it's not easy to eat enough to get your recommended daily dose. That was why I really like dove into choline a bit. I was like, dude, I fucking need this.
This is the only one.
It's the only bougie one, I think, but it's not even that expensive. It's like $30 for like. Actually, I can just pull it up right now. Amazon. I buy this one.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's on sale right now. It's $20 for.
What's it?
100.
Inositol.
Yeah, it's so apparently the way you digest it, you need to like it's helpful to take the two together. So then they already put in a capsule for you with both of them, with like choline and inositol.
Like black pepper and turmeric.
Yeah, it's like black pepper and turmeric, black pepper and ashwagandha, shit like that. So yeah, you get 100 of these for $20, and then one pill has 250 milligrams. Sorry, this is kind of fucking.
You just take two.
I just take one because I do eat 2 large eggs a day.
Oh.
I eat 2 eggs every single day, right?
Makes sense.
So then I was like, okay, like at least if I take this and I eat my eggs every day, then I'm covered with the minimum recommended daily dose. Not like that's already discounting if I ate any like fish that day or if I eat any like, you know, broccoli and other stuff that day. But even then, like you see the numbers, it's so astronomically low considering how much you actually need.
Yeah.
Like 31.3 milligrams for half a cup of broccoli. So that means you need like it's gonna be some stupid number here, right? Yeah. You need 6.5 cups of broccoli just to get if you didn't eat anything else, just to get your minimum choline requirement, right? So then when I added all the numbers up, I was like, oh shit, this nutrients, like some doctors, I'm just gonna put quotations here, say it's like a silent epidemic, like not a lot of people know about this, right? And it's true. It's like I feel like not a lot of people know about this. Yeah.
Getting everyone to learn about the fucking choline epidemic and the fluoride epidemic.
I should fucking invest in the choline stocks and business.
You should.
I mean, if what they're saying is true, if you believe in COVID, then why would you think they're lying about this?
You're right.
And if you don't believe in COVID,
choline.
I mean, okay. The other thing too is like the barrier to entry is so low. It's $20 for 100 caps. So that's $20 for 3 months worth, right?
Pretty annoying adding like so many pills to your fucking stack.
That's true. But like for my supplement regime on the price, this is actually on the good side. Like $20 for 3 months worth. I was like, okay, that's not too bad, right? I think the most expensive thing I have on my regiment right now is probably, I don't know,
probiotics.
I don't take any of that. Well, maybe I should, but
you should. I take it.
I just try to like eat kimchi and yogurt every day, but I'm not sure if that's enough. But I mean, like I don't have digestion issues, so I assume it's okay.
My stomach used to hurt like all the fucking time.
Until you took it, that's good. You should keep taking it. Yeah, 100%. But I've never had like I have a pretty iron stomach.
I do not.
I think I can eat a lot of different things and survive it. So I wasn't ever too worried about pro or pre-bio, but I still try to like eat kimchi and all that shit.
That's like the same.
Yeah, that's my regime. Like, what's yours? Is yours about the same?
I take pretty similar things. I take multivitamin as well. I take the omega-3 too. Vitamin D.
Yes.
I take magnesium biglycinate as well. I take collagen.
Yeah.
I take creatine. Take zinc.
Oh, zinc. No, that's not one I take.
And a prebiotic and a probiotic.
That's good.
Yeah.
I felt like when I went through my research, it was I think choline and I think vitamin K. Those were the two I thought was iffy.
Oh my god.
But I gave up on the vitamin K one and I just focused on the choline.
Why?
It was not that cheap to get it. Not as cheap, I think. And
Do you like kiwis?
is that what has the most vitamin K? No
Yes.
way. Is that why they named it vitamin?
Green kiwis have a lot of vitamin K.
Green kiwis, you say?
And they are the most nutrient dense fruit.
Isn't that like? Don't you think that's so?
But for some reason, they're not rated as a superfood, so I don't know.
It's not even the food high in vitamin K on this one website. Interesting. It just feels like it's not very like when you talk about sustainability,
Yeah.
and you'd be like, eat a banana a day, that's like, okay, banana's pretty cheap, it's everywhere, right? But if you
Eat
say like
kiwi.
eat kiwi every day, I was like, dude, I can get it like maybe half the season for a decent price. And then the other half of the year it's like a fucking shit price.
Makes sense.
So then it doesn't feel sustainable, right?
Whoa, foods naturally high in vitamin K is broccoli.
Yeah.
I ate so much fucking broccoli. That's perfect. I'm getting
I'm-
my choline and my vitamin K.
Dude, if you could get all your choline just from broccoli, I'd be so impressed. You'd be shitting fucking green. Like literally 6.5 cups of broccoli a day.
Let's say whenever I eat broccoli, I would eat like 3 cups in one sitting.
Did you know something I learned recently too about protein? How like vegetable proteins are incomplete.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, that's why I was like thinking like you have that vegan protein, right? Like theoretically, that's also incomplete because it doesn't have everything.
I would imagine they would add the.
But they won't be vegan anymore. Or do you think they like extract just leucine out? Actually, I wonder when do they consider that vegan and non-vegan anymore? Like at some point that had to come from something, right? Like they're not just fucking in a lab like putting molecules together and shit, right? So at some point that has to come from somewhere. And if it's like a extract
like
from milk,
pure vegan,
yeah, like if it's an extract from milk, then technically it's not
if
vegan.
it fucking
right?
touches a wax product, it's no longer vegan.
Yeah, right. So
yeah.
I actually wonder how strict they are on that stuff. But yeah, like because technically any vegetarian or vegan protein are incomplete protein because it doesn't contain all like 20 amino acids in it, which is allegedly you need all 20. Actually, not even allegedly, probably for sure. You need all 20 for like muscle growth and shit like that, right? Yeah, that's what was interesting when you told me you have vegan protein. I was like, oh, really? That's very interesting. I mean, you still eat meat, which is
You
good.
can look it up right now. Let's see if it actually has it.
Vegan protein.
It's by Revolution.
Rev Nutrition?
Revolution.
Oh. By Revolution.
It's
Vegan. Okay, we're going to do some research for Viv because maybe I scared her a little.
well, I don't actually touch my protein that often unless I know I'm like severely behind.
Oh, so you don't actually take it
macros.
often?
I don't take it like
Oh,
that often.
is that the right one? You said it's Revolution, not Revolution Nutrition, right?
It's not Naturals. It's like the same brand. It's just their other line. This one.
Oh. Vegan Smart. 3 plant-based sources of protein. Oh, maybe that is enough. Contains a full spectrum of amino acids. Well,
There you go.
if their advertisement is correct, then yeah, it has all of the stuff you need.
Where's the?
Wait,
nutrition
you
label?
don't drink this every day?
No.
Oh, I'm actually concerned then.
Why?
Do you take enough protein in a day?
Yeah.
How much protein do you take?
I try and take 130, 140.
How much do you take per sitting?
Okay, that's the issue.
Like, do you take 130 all at once, or like is it split up?
It's split up between like 2-ish meals, which is
Oh.
like fucked.
Yeah, that's like a little concerning because you want to split it at least 3.
Yeah, but
I-
I don't eat that much. Like,
Yeah, that's hard. Because I think I talked to you about this before, where it's
Yeah.
like there's a minimum requirement per serving, and there's almost like a maximum too.
yes.
So like you don't want to go over that maximum because all that protein is now wasted,
Mhm.
but you don't want to go below the minimum because you want to hit that minimum for like maximum muscle growth.
Yeah.
That's why I split mine to 3 right now. I have like my protein milkshake in the middle of the day, and then like my meal at lunch, and then my last meal at dinner. I take like way more though. I take like 170,
Holy.
or I think like for sure 150 plus.
I think
but
if you
close to
have
170.
like one protein rich meal,
Yeah.
it's pretty easy to hit most numbers. I imagine like under 200.
Yeah, but you want to take
layer it.
Like the reason of taking the 3 is so you can like split it up
That's
into
true.
the so you don't go over, right?
You're right. For the last like fucking week,
Yeah, just one big meal.
my fucking lunches have been like 95 grams of protein.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, tastes so good.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's all in one sitting.
Yeah, it just sucks because like I don't doubt the truth in that, where it's like your body can only process so much in one sitting.
Yeah.
But then if you split it up and you hit the minimum numbers, you're probably gonna get more muscle synthesis.
That's true.
I mean, it's not just muscle synthesis; it's also like other cells in your body needs that too, right? So it's like I think probably only half of it even goes into your muscle at most. I think the rest goes into like your body,
Really?
like the cells, your like cell growth and repair,
Yeah.
right? Like not just muscle cells, but like all your other cells.
Interesting.
I feel like only half of it actually goes to the muscle. It's like all the surplus. I think like half of it goes to the liver right away, and then that's when some of it gets distributed.
I actually don't know anything about this part.
Yeah, I think I just listened to like a recent thing about it. It's like I think the intervention whatever, this YouTube channel is like 7 million subscriber of human anatomy, something of some big I word of human anatomy. And he pretty much has like a bunch of cadavers, and then he just goes through and shows you where things go.
Whoa.
And then he explains like the science to it.
That's sick. What is this called? Can you tell me the name? I
I
am very interested in watching this.
Human anatomy. Oh, I just spelled that wrong.
That's pretty neat.
Let me see. Institute. Sorry, obviously.
The big word.
Institute of Human Anatomy. Yeah, they have like 8 million subscribers, and he pretty much just has a bunch of cadavers, and then he just like goes through stuff. I think he did one recently about protein, and how the body builds incredible strength with. Oh no, not this one. There's one of them about protein, and he kind of explained like where the protein goes, how much.
I'm
goes
already
to where.
subscribed. What the hell?
Yeah. So he's very good, I think, especially if you want to see it. Like I don't care to see it. I just like the science to it, but he has very good like visuals and very good like diagrams and things like that.
Oh.
So I thought his show was really cool. But yeah, I'm glad that vegan protein's actually good for you.
Oh, I watched The Anatomy of Squatting.
Oh yeah, that's something I wouldn't doubt you to watch. Okay, let's see. My
Interesting.
week. Oh, I was gonna say, what if your bones hurt because you were sick for so long?
Maybe.
You're getting old, you know.
That's
Bones
true.
up.
That's true. It's not really my
Wind water.
bones, but
Wind
it's more so my tendons and my joints. Is that the same for?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, do you feel like I feel shittier when I'm sick, like joint wise too when I'm sick. Like just my whole body feels like
it feels tired and lethargic and achy, right?
yeah, like that achy feeling.
That's true.
But I don't know. That's what I was thinking. Because you were sick for like
specifically in my hands and in my knees though.
Oh, so like your elbow, your shoulder, your hips.
Oh,
are
I
all
know.
fine.
You're right. My elbows also hurt.
Oh, but your shoulder and your hips are fine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay then. Yeah, I don't know. I can't figure out that correlation then. Because the reason I was asking about that is like I felt like I was about to get sick on Sunday. And I was like, fuck, I should saw Viv on Friday. Like Sunday I started feeling very lethargic and tired and shit. And then I just did my usual shit. And then I just ate and I was like, I'm just gonna sleep a little bit earlier. It wasn't even much earlier. I think it was like maybe half an hour earlier than I normally did. And I woke up Monday fine. I was like, oh thank fuck. And then Monday afternoon I started feeling a little bit again. Went through volleyball and then came home, went to bed and woke up and I was fine. I was like, okay, it's gone. I was like, I felt it and I felt like I had to like pull it back. So then I started
Don't you dare.
Yeah, exactly. Like Sunday night I just ate. Like I know usually when I'm sick, I think some people when they're sick they can't really eat. I'm a glutton, so I can almost eat anytime, but I like specifically force myself to eat even more because I think it's like, oh, I think I need more for my body to recover a bit. That's just me thinking. I have no idea if there's any truth in that. So then I just ate a lot more on Sunday night, and then I felt better, and then it's been good since then. But I am injured right now though, my finger.
That's good. What happened to your finger?
It's just from climbing, so I might just take some time off.
Try this.
No, I'm not gonna do that shit. No, it just hurts right on the pulley. The between your palm and your first like joint is where it's sore. I'm gonna try your fucking stupid thing. It's not even the same. We don't even have the same injuries with our fingers.
Put it the other way or some shit.
I don't know. But I honestly want to ask, because I'm gonna go see that kinesiologist again and massage. I think sometime this week. I have an appointment. I think midweek, and I want to ask about specific things. So I want to ask her about my form on the McGill Big 3. So that's the back exercise I do, and I want to ask her thoughts on like rest and stuff, because I think I'm due for a break week that I haven't taken in a while, and it kind of lines up with my finger hurting. I should just like I can't climb for the next 2 sessions, I think.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it's crazy too, because like I've been doing so good. I've been hitting like some days 50%, but most days like 20 to 30% success rate. V5s. Yeah. So like for the last, I want to say like 6 sessions, I finish at least 1 and sometimes 2 V5s that session.
Oh, nice.
For like the last 5 or 6 sessions. So it's like nonstop, right? But it is what it is. I also come to appreciate like properly resting.
Yeah.
Like I think 3 years ago me, or maybe even 4 years ago me, I'd be really upset that I'm injured and shit. But now I'm just like, okay, I just have to take it in strides, and like listen to the reaction of your body. So instead of me keep saying like, hey, you're a fucking bitch, I'm actually like, okay, this is like your body's like saying something that you're not listening to, right? Because like it actually started hurting last week. I took 1 session off and then went back, and then that session I went back, I obviously went hard, completed some shit, and then now it's hurting again. So I was like, oh, maybe I gotta take 2 sessions off this time instead, and then also when I get back, just like think about it a bit more until it's fine. Because like
I think that's being more responsible to your body, and you kind of learn that more as you gain more experience with injuring yourself.
It's just like when you drag out injuries, it's just so bad. Yeah, it's just like it takes so much longer. The experience is just so much more painful.
I agree.
Whereas when you like
more excruciating,
when you like focus and concentrate on healing, which is literally resting, so like focusing on not doing anything for like 1 or 2 weeks, then it's just like gone, or like maybe even up to 3 weeks, and then that injury is just gone. But at the same time, I'm not gonna fully rest. Like I'm still gonna run and stuff, but that's because it doesn't affect my finger, and my legs still feel good right now.
Yeah.
Like my legs, like I have a new goal now, which is kind of cool for running. Like I just want to hit a certain number now. What's your number? So right now I run. Okay, so I do the run for 4 minutes, and then like walk fast-ish for 3 minutes to rest from that, and then go back to 4. So it's like zone 4 back to like rest, and then zone 4 back to rest, right? And right now, if I did that, so let's say I didn't run the whole time, I did that, I can run 5K in 35 minutes with that method of just like run, walk. I if I can hit that under 30 minutes, then I could probably run under 25 minutes.
That's pretty sick.
You know what I mean? Like if I can hit 30 minutes with my like run walk method.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, I previously wasn't hitting any specific target, but now I'm trying to like up my speed a little bit. Then I assume like when I do the full run, and that's still a big assumption, I can probably hit a number even lower, right? Like if I can run and walk and hit my target goal of 30 minutes, then I could probably do better if I like actually fully ran the whole 30 minutes.
That's true.
That is just my assumption, right?
I would imagine that's the case too.
So then I was like, oh, maybe I should start like hitting some number goals. And I was like, okay, right now I can do 35 minutes if I did this like run walk method. And it's not like a specific method, it's just the training style. The whole zone 4 training is like, you want to do, I think it's 4 on 4 off, but I just take the 3 off instead, because I was like, I feel pretty rested after two like 2-ish minutes or so. Then I was like, oh, I'll just do 3. So then I kind of a new goal on that. So I was like, oh, maybe I should aim for that. So it's pretty much like every time I do the run session, I just have to go a little bit faster, and then the walk session, I just have to go a little bit faster too.
Sounds like it's gonna be doable.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's nice because like I can split up my injuries now, right?
Yeah.
So if like my finger's injured, I was like, okay, I can think about running a bit more and a little bit less about like bouldering and shit.
Does your back feel impacted at all with
from
running?
The running? No, surprisingly not.
Oh,
so the only time my back sucks is from sitting. It's literally the only time. Like I need that like lumbar.
Otherwise, you don't notice it.
Otherwise, it doesn't bother me. Or like when I'm hunched over on my phone. That's the other part. That's the other part that's really bad for my back. So like it sucks because recently I got really addicted to this Sudoku game. This killer Sudoku that Joyce introduced to me. It's like you don't get any numbers on the board, but then like certain groups are grouped together, and then the numbers in that grouping have to add up to this number in the corner, right?
Okay.
So then everything's kind of grouped everywhere, right? Yeah. So then now it's like you combine Sudoku with like a lot of like mental math, and then you combine that also with like not probability, but more like logic. So it's like like pure deduction. So it's like, for example, if you have
probability-ish.
Yeah, it's like, for example, if you have 4 sets of number, like, so like it's groups of 2 all in a row, right? That means one set of the number, say like adds up to 13. That one set cannot fuck up any 2 combined sets, if that makes sense. So like that one
fuck up.
So that one set cannot make it so the other 2 sets can't have
Sudoku.
any number, right? Yeah. So then you have a lot of like cross logic with math now, right? Because like I played expert Sudoku for a while, and then I got bored because it wasn't challenging anymore. Like I saw the patterns to certain like puzzles and shit, and this is a new one. So then the app I have, they have 200 puzzles. I'm like on like 160.
Oh shit!
Because I was fucking addicted to it.
Oh,
I think when I first started, it took me like almost an hour to finish one. Now I think my fastest time is like 5 minutes.
Can you send me what this app is?
Yeah, I'll send to you. But yeah, now my fastest time is 5 minutes. My average time is probably like 12 minutes for one puzzle.
What was your time when you first started?
Like an hour.
Holy shit.
And then now it's like 5 minutes fastest, 12 minutes average, and then a hard one, quote unquote hard, would be like 30 minutes.
What's choices? Like 2 minutes, 1 minute?
So
10 seconds?
Dude, she showed me how she played. Yeah. And I was like, dude, like she has some weird thing where she can do the probability really well. So how she thinks about it is like, oh, the puzzle master probably made it so it's this number here. Is how she does it. And she solves experts in like 2 minutes, like like the normal expert Sudoku, and like
an insane amount of time,
like sub 2 minutes.
I fucking remember that time.
So then I
so fucking smart.
Yeah, I went through one with her, and I told her like, explain to me every time you put down a number, like why you chose to put it there, right? Yeah. And then what I realized is that her strategy is a combination of insane probability. Like I see the same probability she's putting on. Yeah. So I see that, okay, 80% chance that the Sudoku master did put this number here. Yeah. But my logic is it's 100 or nothing. Like I have to know it's exactly that number. Like if there's a chance it's not that number, I'm not putting it down. Yes. But she knows enough of the probability that she can just figure it out.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. I was looking through. I was like, dude, you have like a weird combination of like probability, experience, and just like, I don't know, like puzzle solving skill. Like for me, it's I'm so grounded into the, if that's not number 6, I'm not putting it down. I can put it down in the notes. It might be number 6 or it might be number 5, but I cannot say it's number 6 because there's a possibility it's not number 6, right?
I'll write down all the possibility of what the number could be in like the corners. Yes, yeah. But not actually write it down in the middle to fill it in until like figure out like fucking everything else.
Yeah, but she works with the probability very, very well, and she figures out very well, and I think that's how she gets like crazy numbers.
Genius.
Yeah, but for me, I just couldn't. I was like, I don't have that flexibility. I feel like
I cannot.
I feel like it's like. It was
that would fuck with my brain if I did it that way.
Yeah. No, it goes back to the discussion we had last week. It's like complex and complicated system. It's like it's a complex system. It's not complicated. So there is an answer, and there's only one answer. It's a unique answer, right? So I need to find that and that only, right?
That is true.
Yeah. So I've been addicted to that. So that kind of hurts my back because I'm like hunched over playing on my phone and that shit. Like I normally don't ever go on my phone except for.
You get one of those like those. I think they're called octopus. Like sticky pads that you stick on the back of your phone. Yeah. It's basically just a bunch of suction cups, like 4x4 mini suction cups.
I've seen those. Yeah.
Stick on the back of your phone, stick it on a wall. So you get to stand there, face your wall, and just play like that.
Dude, I think a part of my like forearm or wrist is kind of sore because I always I read before I go to sleep. And sometimes the book gets really like intense.
Get a book holder.
Yeah, so I'm holding my Kindle like this while I'm laying on my bed. And then it's just like hard on my...
fucking dropped it on your face.
Sometimes, yeah. Oh, so what I was thinking of getting is, you know, the glasses with the mirrors? And you can just put it down here on your stomach. And then you have the glasses with the mirrors and you just look at it. Right? I was like, oh, maybe I should get that. That'd be kind of sick.
Something that I do when I... Okay, actually, I don't really do it anymore because I like sit up when I read. Yeah. But when I used to lay down and read, I have this arm. It's kind of like... Yeah, it's a... flexible arm that you can attach to the edge of a table, kind of like how we have this arm like for the mic. Boom. But then you have a phone thing or some like tech accessory holding gear, and you just like bend it to however you're laying and sitting, so you don't need to like touch it at all. I'm pretty sure there's one for a Kindle.
Yeah, probably.
You just attach it to some bendable arm, attach it to the end of your table or something like that, and then flex it however you need, and you can lay down and read.
Like I used to sit up and read, and that was a lot better for your arm. Yeah, because like just I don't know, the angle of it puts a lot of torque on your forearm.
Yes.
But then since my back, I actually lay down now and I put a heat pad on my back. You know, the whole thing.
Nice, yes.
And then I also read. So I was like, oh fuck, maybe I should get those like mirror glasses and just like just lay there, look up, but then have the mirror like point towards my Kindle and then just like read like that. I was debating. I was like, oh, maybe I should try that out. That sounds pretty cool. But then I was like, dude, this is the ultimate laziness. Like,
is it laziness or is it max minning your reading time?
Dude, I think I would read for even longer. Like right now, I'm already reading for almost like, depending on where I'm in the book, it could be up to an hour at night before I go to bed, or it could be just like 30 minutes. Right, but it's usually minimum 30 minutes.
I would have thought that an hour would have been like average. Okay,
oh, really?
I feel like it's not being lazy. It's making sure that when you're reading, you're not distracted by other things, like your pain in your wrists.
Yeah. That's right.
Or feeling tired in your fucking forearms or anything like that.
You're right.
And if you're gonna read consistently all for a long time, it's better to invest in something like that so you don't fuck up your wrists.
Dude, you know what's a big game changer? Doing zone 2 cardio and reading. Because zone 2 cardio is like, you just have to be like almost out of breath, but not really out of breath. Like you can still have a conversation, right?
Yeah.
So if you combine that with reading, it's actually really nice. Like you get the full workout.
Yeah.
But you're enjoying it the whole time because you're reading a book. Right.
Must be nice.
Yeah. So that's what's like propelled me and like helped me read so much more in a day, is like I combine it with the workout, right? Like I have to do the workout anyways, I might as well like read.
That makes sense. I should start doing that.
I mean, you don't even do cardio. I mean, I
think I'm doing stairs again.
Are you? Nice. I mean, I think, I mean, you sent me that podcast with that lady and it's like, it's facts. You gotta do the zone 2 too. You can't just do the all out, you know, all out HIIT shit. You gotta do the zone 2 shit too.
She did say that.
All right. This week we're gonna talk about
some other podcasty stuff.
Huh?
Other podcast stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, so me and Viv were listening. So I haven't finished it. Viv's already finished this podcast, and the podcast is Andrew Huberman's recent one on with Esther Perel. I think she is a relationship therapist, and the podcast is called How to Find, Build, and Maintain Healthy Romantic Relationships. I'm only like 21 minutes in. It's a 2-hour podcast. I think Viv's finished already.
It's a 2-hour podcast?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But even just from the first 20 minutes, I like heard about some really cool concepts that I thought would be cool to talk about. I know Viv also really likes to talk about this stuff too.
Yes, I do.
And the first one was the cornerstone and capstone relationship. I thought that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why they call it cornerstone. I know why they call it capstone. But cornerstone, I guess, kind of makes sense too. So capstone, like usually in buildings, capstone is the very top foundation layer. Like you have the pillars or the piles, and then it goes to a capstone, the cap of the pile, and then that builds the rest of the building. And then I think from what I listened to, the cornerstone relationship is a relationship you develop in your younger years, and then you both grow together. And then a capstone relationship is you're both already developed, like almost fully developed. You're you already.
Yes.
You already have, you know, a full-time job. You already moved out. You pretty much already have your life set, and then you start a relationship with someone else who's, I assume, similar if you're not like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like I assume, you know, crazy people would want crazies, right? Even if they're well developed, if that makes sense.
I would imagine. More so like attracts like.
Yeah, like if you're like, you know, gambling all the time or shit, even though you're cornerstone or your capstone, as in like you're a well developed person, you're probably gonna want crazy still, just because of who you are. But anyways, yeah, I thought that was a cool concept because they're saying like in cornerstone relationships, which is like between, you know, teens to like late 20s or early 30s.
Yeah.
That's when you start developing the relationship, and you yourself aren't even fully developed it. So then you both have to grow together.
Yes.
And I think they said that the good part about that is that you are growing together with someone, which is nice, I think. And then the bad part about that is that you're going to change and your partner's going to change. And will that change the relationship?
Yes.
Oh, that was really cool.
Will you change together, or will your relationship be dynamic enough to allow for that change to happen at all?
Yeah.
Essentially. Like you could be like, oh, we grew up together this way.
Yeah.
But then, and this is how it's always been, but then because you're still in the growing phase, perhaps one person grows in a different way, slightly different than the other person, and that's where you have issues.
I think the one thing they emphasized in the beginning was you usually, and I've always theorized this, but you know, she kind of confirmed my theory. She's like, you usually are attracted to someone who's not really like you. She was talking about how like you're attracted to someone, like if you want stability in your life, you usually find a partner that is more stable.
Yes.
Because that's what you want, but that's what you aren't or you have not achieved yet.
Yes.
And then when you're in a cornerstone relationship, you will grow towards that stability because that partner is kind of like creating, or they're having this, let's say, relationship forces or pressure, like make you a bit more stable. But then now you're becoming too stable, not like what you originally were, which is maybe more chaotic. And that becomes like a rift in you. It's like you want that, but it's too much now. And then it's like, you know, something that you're not sure, like you asked for too much or something.
Yes.
I thought that was kind of cool. I think it's, I've personally always thought about that. I always thought like I cannot date another engineer. Like not because I'm bashing,
mentioning that before.
Yeah, like not only bashing engineers themselves, but it's like, dude, you know how fucking boring our lives would be? Like we would maximize the shit out of everything. We'd be like fucking single ply toilet paper. We'd be fucking like huge freezer, mass buying meats and shit.
But do you think that's because the other engineer would have engineering be the core of their personality? I know there are some people that do engineering as a job.
Yeah.
However, the core of their personality is very different from your typical engineer.
Yeah. No, that's I'm just thinking about like typical stereotypical engineer. I was like, dude, if I dated one of those, I thought it would be so fucking boring. But at the same time, it's like there are certain traits you just need to have in order to go through that schooling and like actually like that job.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
So then I feel like those same traits, I don't care for because I already have them, if that makes sense. Like her concept was that you seek for something different, but it's like I already have these traits, so I don't want anything or I don't care for, or I'm indifferent with people with these same traits because I already have them. I know what they are. I know how they feel like. So I've always thought like I've always wanted like someone a bit more chaotic. Is because of that. Is because I feel like I like.
It's kind of cool.
I'm so fucking like stable. I feel like. So then
it's such an interesting way of thinking about it.
That was my theory all along. I was like, dude, like not outworldly, but I feel like everyone I've dated was fucking a little bit crazy. Right.
I thought it was interesting when she mentioned capstone relationships and how she was like, oh, these are the relationships that happen, essentially defining capstone relationships that happen after you're more developed and you're more secure in who you are as a person, or you're more stable and you're not necessarily growing so much.
Yeah.
And that's a completely different type of relationship. I personally feel like whenever I think about like a potential future partner, or anything like that, I don't think about like what you think about in the sense of I need to find somebody that's different from me, or I need to find someone that's more chaotic.
So sorry, it's not specific finding. I just feel like my affinity is that like I'm like naturally attracted to that. Yeah.
Mine is a little bit different. I would be more attracted to someone who's more like me.
Oh yeah, okay.
In that sense.
Does that make you like a narcissist or something like that?
No.
Like you love yourself so much?
Not by the definition of a narcissism, but more so because I would feel like the way that we connect would be more organic.
I see.
And more easier than if somebody was completely different. Then we wouldn't have like aligned mindsets.
Yeah. Maybe you're in the capstone stage. I mean, so that you could be like more in the capstone stage already. Like I feel like the other thing she said that was interesting. So like we obviously know the pros and cons of cornerstone. She also said that capstone, it's good that you know who you are. Like both people know who they are, but they may be at a point in their life that they don't want to invest in energy to bridge the pillars together.
Oh yeah.
Like they don't want to invest time and energy to develop together anymore because they've already created themselves so well. So then it kind of gets to the point where they're like, oh, I like me and I like this. Like I like sleeping with the windows open. And that's how I like it. That's always how I like it. No one's going to change me. So I don't care who you are. Like I don't care if I'm dating you. The windows are going to be open. Right. but then they won't have enough energy or effort to want to change because they've already developed, right?
And that's what makes it difficult.
Yeah. And then for cornerstone, obviously what we've already just said, like you could change in ways that are unexpected that might like ruin the relationship, because that change could put pressure onto certain things of that relationship.
Yeah, I would say I'm definitely more
You're in that capstone fit. I'm actually I'm not sure. So I've been with Joyce for 6 years, and I feel like I felt like I really knew myself even then. But that's so hard to say that, because like I've still changed in the last 6 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But still, I did feel like I'm not, like if someone met me 6 years ago, or like if I brought a guest on the podcast, I feel like whatever they say who I am, you already knew that.
Yes.
You're like, of course Alvin would do that, or of course Jorge would like do that or say those things or stuff like that, right? So then I also feel like I haven't changed that much. Like the fundamentals of me are still me, right? So then I was kind of curious, because I was like, I wonder if my relationship is cornerstone or capstone. Because if you go by the age range that they talked about on the podcast, it's technically cornerstone, because they say it's like more of the teens to late 20, early 30s.
Yes.
Right? And I started dating Joyce in like my mid 20s. Right? And then, but then I still feel like I'm just me still. But
from an outsider perspective, I would say that it feels like your relationship and who you are is a little bit more on the capstone side than capstone side than cornerstone side.
We're very independent. Like both of us are very independent, and we're just doing our own thing.
Yes.
A lot of the times.
And it's like, of course, when you're with somebody for a long time, you grow together in different ways and you find a way to mesh together and bring your lives together. However, I feel like even throughout the 6 years, just as an outside person viewing in, it seems like both of you individually and together still apply more towards the capstone part of it, the definition, than the cornerstone. Like without, you guys aren't so much growing together as much as you are making things work separately but together.
Yeah. I feel that. Yeah, that's what I feel like too. Which is like interesting, because I thought about it. I was like, oh, maybe we have to like bridge the gap some more. It's weird because like I've been with her for 6 years, but I feel like I still have so much to learn about her.
Oh yeah, I feel like if you don't live together, there's so much to learn.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm okay with, like, the whole reason I even listen to this podcast, I normally don't like tread into this type of water. Like the shit I listen to is usually like random conspiracy theories, good stories, and like very scientific. No, I'm not saying a relationship isn't scientific, but more like hard science stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like nutrition is very hard science, muscle growth is very hard science, mathematics, space, mechanics, all that shit's really hard science. But then I saw this podcast. I'm like, you know what? Like, I think I need to learn more. Like, there's always more I should learn. So I was like, maybe I should listen to this. I think it's a good one for me to listen to. That's the only reason it was on my list, because I was like, you know, I've been listening to a lot of like wacky shit lately. I should like do one that's like focus on that stuff that I don't always attune myself to.
I was surprised when you said you listened to it. I was like, this is exactly up my alley with podcasts and things that I typically listen to.
Yeah, for me, it's not common I would listen to something like this. Again, guys, I'm only 20 minutes in, but I thought there was like a lot of cool concepts even in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting too.
And then the next thing they talked about also was the Erikson psychologist, the 8 stages of life. I thought that was kind of cool. So I never really knew about this, but so Erikson was a scientist in, I want to say like the 1950s, 1940s, in that range. So Erikson with Joan Erikson, they created a paper and then they kind of explained the stages of life. And they're saying that each stage of this life, you're going to go through a psychological development, and then your, say, results. Let's not say success. Let's just say results from that stage will affect your later stages. I don't know how much more they got into in the podcast, but this itself as a core concept was really fucking cool. I thought, because like we can kind of go through this, but they're saying like in infancy under 1 year old, your virtues is hope, and then your crisis is trust versus mistrust. Your significant relationship is with mother, and your existential question is, can I trust the world? And the events that affect us, I guess, is feeding and abandonment. So that's kind of cool. It's I'm going to project myself on this. I assume it just means like, does the baby can it trust its external reactions to things and how the world reacts to that? I assume. Because it's just pretty much the baby's just saying like, oh, do I get what I want when I want it in certain times when I need
Very
it?
simple.
Yeah.
Nature versus nurture type of things.
Yeah, like very basic shit. That's cool because I wonder how it affects the next one. So like, let's say the answer is no of the existential question. Can I trust the world? So that means you must have like abandonment issues.
Yeah, or I would imagine that something that would apply here would be that test that they did with two monkeys, or not two, I think maybe two monkeys specifically, or just one monkey, where they took the baby monkey away from its mother.
Yeah.
And they put either I believe it was a warm stuffed animal or something like that looks like their monkey in one side of the cage versus like a cold one that's made out of steel but has food near it. The baby monkey still chose to cuddle with the fake mom that was made out of a stuffy that was warm over the steel one that also had food.
Oh, that's cool because that means like the laws of needs actually kind of got broken there.
Yeah.
Because the laws of needs, usually food and shit is the very basic, right? But now you're picking the emotional attachment over food.
Exactly.
Wow, that's pretty cool actually.
So I feel like under the age of 1, that hope and trust thing kind of plays a bigger role.
Yeah.
Than we realize.
Like I hope I'm right because my theory, if I ever do get kids, is going to be what I've explained last time, where it's like the world will say fuck you to my kid. Like I have to teach him love. The world will not teach him love. Like the world may or may not teach him love, but I have to teach him love, right? But the world will for sure teach him, pain, right? Yeah. That's cool. Because that kind of aligns with this first one, right? It's like, can I trust the world? I want them to say like, yes, because I want to give them that hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then toddlerhood, 1 to 2 years, the virtues is will, psychological crisis, autonomy versus shame/doubt, significant relationships with your parents, and the existential question is it okay to be me? And the events is toilet training, clothing themselves. This one I'm actually kind of confused on. I don't really understand it.
Yeah, for like 1 to 2 years old, I'm very confused on why.
I also feel like the scale, you have to change it a little bit because back in the 50s, you probably only lived to like 70, right? So if you have to add 30 extra years, you probably have to scale your like childhood a bit more, right? Like this might be 1 to 3 or maybe 1 to 4 years old.
I guess so. But actually, if you're thinking about a baby when they're 1 or 2 years old, they're learning a lot of things.
Yeah.
And they are learning how to become less dependent on their mother. So the psychosocial crisis part of it, which says that it's autonomy versus shame and doubt, I feel like that kind of makes sense. Like, should I rely on my mom to get me this? Yeah. Should I rely on my mom to get me down from this chair? Should I get down from this chair myself? Yeah. Should I pick up this carrot for myself, or should I ask my mom?
Fuck, man.
Like that kind of makes sense.
Dude, this is like
the free
scary.
will.
I feel like having kids is scary as shit.
Yeah,
like knowing all this stuff.
You impact their mental so much.
Yeah, you're like, dude, I could have, just say me, like as in like my child would just grow up to be like me, right? Mm-hmm. Or I could have the next Hitler.
Yeah.
And it could all be dependent on like, baby Timmy didn't get a banana whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like something fucking
you
wild.
You denied him every single time he wanted a banana.
Well, it's like, you will never analyze my childhood because I feel like I'm just a very normal person. Unless I become like the first dictator of Canada or some shit. I'm just a very normal person, right? Mm. But the moment I become the first dictator of Canada, they're going to like psychosocial analyze my entire childhood. Be like, what led him to this result? You know what I mean? It's like Hitler. Like the only reason they study the shit out of him is because like it was such an interesting character in history, right?
Yes. Otherwise, he would just be some dick.
Yeah. So then they literally just studied him literally from childhood to whatever, right? They analyzed the shit out of it and they tried to draw conclusions from it, right? Mm-hmm. And then as a parent, that'd be so shitty, right? It's like, fuck. I was like, I didn't know I was supposed to fucking give Timmy this fucking banana. You know what I mean? All of a sudden he's fucking Hitler.
Timmy's been plotting a way to get a banana from you for the last 10 years.
He's fucking the brain and picking the brain. God damn it. Yeah, that's I feel the pressures of without even being a parent. I feel the pressures of that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next stage is early childhood, 3 to 6 years old. Virtues is purpose, psychosocial crisis, initiative versus guilt. Your significant relationship is with family, and then the existential question is it okay for me to do, move, and act? So exploring, using tools, or making art. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. You want to
like getting in trouble.
Yeah, you like explore the boundaries of what you are, one, can do, but two, allowed to do, right? I think you're exploring those boundaries of your family.
Your parents are telling you like, oh no, you're not supposed to do this. You can't lock the door here, blah, blah, blah. Don't stick your finger in the fucking outlet.
Yeah. Like your parents try to guide you on all the ways to not kill yourself. And then, but it's also...
Make sure you push in your chairs or manners.
It's also the difference between can and should, right? So it's like you might have heard your parents say a swear word and you say it, and then you can do it, but you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I assume, right? So that's
kind of interesting. My parents never really cared about me swearing. I put it on myself.
Oh. Yeah, you're a bitch. No, I think my parents did care. But I also had older siblings. I think that plays a role into this too.
I had an older sister, but that didn't play a role in it.
Oh, that's true. Because is it okay for me to do, move, and act? If you have older siblings, that kind of also dictates that question already too.
I think for me, the reason why it doesn't for me is because my sister and I are very different in our personalities, in the sense where she's a lot more passive and a lot less willing to test boundaries.
Yeah.
So growing up, it was, I don't know what she did before I was born, obviously, but it was usually me who was the one that was testing the boundaries, and then my sister would learn from that and then go after that. And I would be the one who would ask the questions or ask things that aren't already clearly defined and would question things, and then she would get more of a detailed response on what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do from things that I would do.
Right. Maybe you affected her childhood.
Yeah. I would say that's the case.
What if she was such a badass baby or kid until you came? She's like, I don't need to do this shit anymore. I just let her do it all.
No, she was really passive, just really well.
But how did you know? You weren't born yet.
Or from what my parents said.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
They said she just clung to them and listened to everything they said and just asked them for everything. Like very dependent, very well behaved.
Yeah. She was gay. Like, you know what I mean? Like child, like playground terms.
Yeah.
I feel it. All right, middle childhood. So 7-10 years old. I feel like these numbers are kind of off. I guess you kind of just assume what middle childhood is in your own sense, right? Because like back in the 1950s, like by the time you're 12, like if you're a female, you probably need a kid soon. Or something. I don't know. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Right? Not soon, but you know what I mean? This is 1950s.
Exactly 1950.
So let's see. According to Erikson, Erikson published a book called Childhood and Society in 1950 that made his research well known of the 8 stages of psychosocial development. So I assume like in the 1940s and 50s.
Right. Give or take like 3 years.
I feel like back then, like 18-year-old having a baby was not as insane as now. Even now, it's not even that insane.
That's true.
But even then, back then it was probably like, all right, that's life, right?
I mean, now I'd be like, damn, you fucked up.
I mean, back then, do you think they say that? I don't know.
I think if you go far enough back then, no. But if you go back like 10 years ago,
yeah,
it would be like, are you fucking kidding me?
80 years ago, that's 1950s.
But true, yeah. Back then,
I feel like
it was preferred. I would say
it would be like you're almost 18, you're
halfway through your life.
Yeah, your boyfriend's in like working construction. He's like 23. He might be like 4 or 5 years older than you, and then you guys get a kid together. I feel like that's a common.
You get married and you have a whole family.
Yeah, I feel like that's a common thing back then. Or okay, at least the portrayal from shows and movies.
That's true. I would say like even around my parents' age, it was pretty normal. I believe my parents had my sister when they were like 25 or something.
Oh, that's crazy to think about, right?
Right.
I was talking to my friend about it. I was talking to my friend Kevin about it. He's like, "Oh, when did your parents have you and all that stuff?" I was like, "Damn, that's fucking crazy."
Yeah.
But so like I'm the third child, so technically my parents had me a bit later because they already had 2 already, right? So I think they had me when they were like 30-ish.
Yeah.
But that's because they already had 2 kids, right? But I was just thinking about like, damn, dude, getting a kid at like 25. I was like, dude, that's insane. That's crazy. But back then they had to do it. Like that's a refugee mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you come from suffering, it's like, oh, I gotta poop babies up because I don't think I can succeed as well.
Yeah.
I gotta like pass it on to them.
That's crazy.
I think so too. Anyways, middle childhood, 7 to 10 years old. I wouldn't take that stuff that serious. But the virtues is competence. The psychosocial crisis is industry versus inferiority. The significant relationships is neighbors, school, and the existential question is, can I make it in the world of people and things? That's interesting. I'm trying to think.
What grade is that?
Around that age. That's like must be like grade
age 7 is like
2, 3.
I think 2.
Grade 2 or 3 up to like grade 6.
You go to kindergarten grade or when you're 5, 6, right?
Dude, how I count backwards. I count from junior high. I think you go to junior high around like 12, no?
Oh fucking hell. All I know is high school is 14, 15.
Yeah, so 14, 15 minus 3 is about 12, 11. Right, so you go to junior high at 12 or 11, right? So then, I mean, 7 to 10 years old is about like grade 4 or 5 to like grade 2 or 3.
That's true.
But again, that's like 1950 standard. I feel like it's more like right before junior high would be middle childhood, or right at junior high too, I would say. For our current age, like current society. I think that's real. Can I make it in the world of people and things? I mean, I don't know.
For me, that's my personal experience. That is not accurate.
Can I make it in the world of things? I mean, you want to know how you fit in, and you want to know, your clique. I feel like at that age, you want to figure out like who you hang out with. Yeah, like can I make it in the world of people? Is like who do I fit in with? Who do I hang out with?
That's so interesting.
But I definitely didn't think like anything beyond that. So can I make it in the world of people and things? On the things part, I didn't really care. It's more like who do I hang out with? You know, you have a crush on random girls. You play at recess, shit like that.
I guess can I make it in the world part would apply to my experience, because when you're giving the examples of who do you hang out with, all that stuff, like I never thought of that. I never had any problems with like friends and things like that. But for can I make it in the world, people and things, I think the way that I could relate to that would be when I was around this age, I had so many dreams of so many different career choices I wanted to do. Yeah. And I would consistently feed into all of them. So maybe that would kind of apply to can I make it in the world of people and things. I mean, if the virtues, but it wasn't really a question for me. It was just because I liked doing them and I was interested in them. Yeah. And then the only gripe that I had was, how am I gonna fucking pick one eventually? You don't. You do it all. You build generative AI that kills the whole world. That's doing everything. Perfect. But yeah, it's competence. Are you competent to do stuff? That's interesting. I mean, I would bump the numbers up. Middle childhood, maybe to like 12 or 13. And then the next one is adolescence. So the virtues is fidelity. Psychosocial crisis is identity versus role confusion. So this is from 11 to 19 years old. So I assume it's like pre-adulthood kind of thing. Significant relationship is peers role model. And then the existential question is, who am I? Who can I be? See, that I feel like this, like the numbers are way off. I feel like this should be like to 25. The question of who am I and who can I be, I feel like you didn't ask that until you were done fucking actually when you were beyond high school, maybe even beyond university. Yeah, I was gonna say for the 19, that's right when you're done high school, basically. Yeah. I guess back then maybe you didn't need that high of education to really know what you want to do. Yeah, you just went into some random trades back in the day in the 50s. For sure, I would say like at least 2 years probably after university. I think it's like 25. So yeah, 2 years over is about 25. Because I think by the time you're 25, you might even have a better sense. Because yeah, I think several years after university, because after you come out of university, you might find out that you don't want to do what you studied on. Yeah. And then it takes like, a couple of years to figure that out. Okay, I'm finally done school. How do I finally adult and get my life together? Event social relationships. So interesting because I feel like I had the least social relationships. Actually, no, between 11 to like 21, I had the most social relationships and the most social interaction. But then after that, I fell off a cliff. Like after that, in my like later or my early to mid 20s, it's just like school, life, work, shit like that. I feel like potentially now is when my social relationships is like declining.
Oh, really? It's just starting to decline?
Yeah, it's because I'm keeping more to like myself.
I think, actually, no.
But I would say, yeah, until like 2-3 years ago, it was still consistently high.
I think when I met Joyce, it went downhill.
Perfect.
When I met her, I was like, yeah, no, I don't need to go no one else. Fucking meet all these random girls no more.
Perfect.
I feel like before that, I was
hold it out anymore.
Yeah, before that, I was just meeting girls all the time. Not saying I'm like getting girls. I'm just like trying to meet them.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, oh, I don't need this anymore. This is good.
That's perfect.
That's what I think. I mean, it always goes back to the story where I was like, this is it, right? Yeah. Like, it was like, the week before I met her, I already stopped using all those apps and shit.
The stars fucking aligned.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of crazy, the story.
And then it just aligned with me getting a dog and then me meeting someone and shit. Maybe it was me forcing it too. Maybe I'm just like, fuck it, this is it.
I personally believe that you have quite a bit of control in creating your life and making your life exactly what you want it to be.
I'm gonna win the lottery.
Alright,
but yeah,
you already won the lottery.
Yeah, because I was
rich
born
in other ways.
Yeah, because I was born. All those sperms, god damn it. Yeah. One of billions made it. Billions.
You're right.
But yeah. Yeah, no, I would just drag that number out, but that's the stage of adolescence. And then I think now it gets a little wonky. So in early adulthood, 20 to 44 years, the virtues is love, and then the psychosocial crisis is intimacy versus isolation. Significant relationship is friends, partners, and then existential questions: can I unite myself with another person? And the events is romantic relationship. This is very interesting because it kind of ties into the fact that I think I had that other podcast where I talked about how people who are in relationships live longer. I wonder if this is like a self-defense mechanism of your brain.
Why?
So like during this early adulthood, 20 to 44 years old, your brain naturally changes and knows that, hey, the chances of survival within a community is a lot higher than by yourself. So you have to find someone. You know what I mean? It's like the brain's trying to like tell you subconsciously that you need a partner because it will maximize survival rate.
That's true.
Because our ancestors that got us here probably survived because of community.
That's
right.
True.
So then the people who didn't survive didn't pass on their genes, and those are the people who are in isolation. Right. That's kind of interesting too, because that's like I mean, outside of the actual psychosocial questions, it's like could be like a primal thing. But then yeah, the existential question is, can I unite myself with another person? Like, I wonder if that's like the primal part of your brain forcing that question as an existential question to you. Is that kind of...
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, it's also during the years when if you don't reproduce or anything like that, then you're kind of fucked.
Your fucking body's raging to make a kid.
Yeah.
As a male or female, you're just raging to create a child. I think.
Yeah,
probably.
I would say so. Do you feel like that's the main?
Yeah, because I think that unity creates a child.
Mm.
Like, can I unite myself with another person? What does unite mean, right? And I think that this is me again projecting on what I think that unity means. Creation, right? Can I unite myself with another person? So what does it mean to unite yourself with a person? Is it to like hold hands? Not really, but it's like to like create something together.
What?
Yeah, that's what I think, at least how it means.
I can see that,
and it's like a very primal thing that's pushing. It's like, oh yeah, you already fucked around the first 20 years. You gotta do something now.
That makes sense. I was going to almost argue that at this point,
22,
it's not. Yeah, 22 to 44. The early adulthood, that is not always specifically about love, though.
The virtues?
I can see, yeah, I can see how that can be a huge part. I would say it's between one of two dynamics. It's either between love or like your life, like building your actual life and making sure it adheres to something that's true to the things you value and what you actually want out of life.
I mean, what if that love means something else to other people, right?
That's true.
Like, I love... So, okay, I'm trying to think of examples. So, like, I love my partner, and the way I show that love is to provide that stability in my career.
Interesting.
And then that's you know, like focusing on yourself and shit like that because you think that creates the stability to provide. Like that love is shown by providing, and you justify the providing by focusing on your career. Because you think about like the physical and economical providing, not the other aspects of providing. That's interesting too.
I feel like what's interesting here too is this part where it says intimacy versus isolation. I feel like perhaps the part where you focus a little bit more on developing your life and your career and creating a life that you are proud of and one that you really want would be more so the isolation part. Like, oh, how much can I work on my career part, or how much should I actually invest into finding a relationship?
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of like something that you've talked about before where it's like, oh, should I move to Europe because I've always wanted to move somewhere, or like stay here
and figure out. I see. Yeah, so that's the intimacy versus isolation, but not in a binary way, more of a like a continuous spectrum way. Yeah, that's cool.
Interesting
to know between the two. Yeah, because that's a pretty fundamental question. You think Japan's fucked?
I think Japan's fucked.
I feel like they're all in the isolation thing, right?
Yeah.
Like every video I watch is just them working.
Yeah.
Like they just care about. They don't care, but I feel like the society forces them to care about just working and not about like fucking around and not fucking around, but like finding love and shit like that. Right?
They feel more self-fulfillment with work than in any potential relationship.
Well, I also feel like the structure of their society is like a hindrance. Like, for example, if you went to a bar here, you could probably maybe get a couple numbers. I could probably get less, but I could probably try to get like a couple numbers too. But I feel like in a Japanese bar, it's not common to try to like intermingle with other groups.
Oh, I agree.
It's like you're like your table and you guys only talk to yeah.
No one fucking talks to anyone.
So it's like
unless you go to a karaoke bar.
Oh, is it different there in Japan?
I've made a few friends from karaoke bars.
But were they all foreigners or were they like local Japanese?
So two of the people that I met were local Japanese. Oh. And there were 3 other people I met that were foreigners.
Oh. Because if it felt like, or how I thought it felt like, is that you meet your mate in high school or you don't meet your mate, or maybe university in Japan. Like you meet your mate in those situations, because after that, once you start working, you either hang out with your workmates or your old classmates.
Oh, that is so true.
So then it's like you can't ever actually meet anyone.
Or you have a friend that introduces you to someone, but otherwise nothing will happen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch a lot of like real life Japanese shit, but from all the shows and stuff I ever watch, it just feels like it's much harder to
That's also
meet someone.
Exactly the idea that I get too.
Yeah. It's like they don't ever intermingle. They don't like talking to like randos and shit.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like, it's so common. You go to a bar and you're very lively and fun, you're probably going to get some numbers and like meet new people and shit like that. Like if you put that effort in. But there, it's like you don't even have the ability to put that effort in.
Exactly.
Or you're in like the shady bar where like, you know, the good people can't go to and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
Like
the sleazy people.
Yeah. And then there's like that shame of that, right?
Something that I find interesting is in Japan, they find that prostitution isn't
it's not bad. Right?
Bad.
Yeah.
And it's not cheating either. It's simply just a business transaction. The same as if you went to go get a massage or went to go get your hair done or something like that.
So I've thought about it too, and I feel like I'm not like, I feel like I have an unfair opinion.
What's your opinion?
Because it's like, I think a guy could just, you know, get a hand job. That's nothing. But then I wouldn't want a girl to, you know,
get finger blasted.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's like my thought process. But I was like, it is unfair. It is very like unfair of that. But to me, I just feel like a hand job is just so like nothing to it. But then I guess maybe that's the same as getting a finger blasted or something. You know what I mean? I actually don't know how to explain it, but it just feels it's just like a motion kind of thing like that, right? Like you could literally just be behind another wall, and the guy would still pay for just like a plain hand job, and there's like no emotion attached. They don't know who you are. They don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Right. But I feel like finger blast is like almost impossible for that. But maybe
would it be like the same thing? Like, you know, those
possibly.
I could be outing myself here, but apparently there's places where like girls can just lay there.
Yeah.
And you have like your lower half
Oh,
exposed.
that's the
under a curtain.
gynecologist, right?
Oh yeah. The gynecologist.
Is that what you're talking about?
And some random dude would come and just finger blast you.
So
I'm not saying I did this, guys. I'm saying I've seen it.
I think if a girl did it, it's okay. If a guy did it, it's weird. But again, that's like I'm saying I have
Like if a guy went to do it.
No, like if a girl went to get finger blasted by a girl, I'd be like, whatever.
Oh, I see.
Right. But then, yeah,
why is the guy touching the girl, or is like why is?
Yeah, it feels kind of weird. It just feels like because I'm a guy, I feel like there's probably other things that's gonna happen if a guy does it. Whereas if a girl was to in a massage just give me a hand job, I feel like there's a very possibility that that's all she's doing, and then she just leaves. You know what I mean? But what if it's a guy who's doing it? I just feel like there's probably other shit that he wants to do that he might be able to do.
I can see what you mean.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I agree. It's completely unfair. Like I told you that. I was like, dude, you get finger blasted by a girl at a massage. I don't give a shit. But not a guy ever. And then I was like, but that being said, if you do that, I just want to know about it, and that's it, right?
I just want to hear the story.
Yeah, I was like, if it's true, I just want to know it. The rest of it, I don't really care.
If Joyce was lost in a forest,
okay,
would you feel more comfortable with her being lost in the forest with knowing there was another random guy there, or a bear?
Random guy. I mean, a bear would just kill her, no?
Like,
is her bear or a bear?
A bear and some random guy in the forest.
Oh yeah, a guy, right? Because like a bear would just kill her. She's dead. Right. I mean, like, yeah, it sucked. It might ruin a relationship, but I think a life is so precious. It's like,
oh yeah.
Like I feel like people who don't think that way of life being so precious, like don't understand how fragile it can also be.
You know what's really interesting?
What?
Is that this is kind of a question that's been circulating or trending or whatever you want to call it on social media. It's basically like, would you pick the guy or the bear? Like a man or a bear? If you were in a forest, it's essentially people asking girls, if you're in a forest, would you rather be lost there with a random guy or a bear? Most girls will actually pick bear.
Oh, really?
And then the other way of asking it would be asking a guy, and you would ask them, oh, if your significant other was in the forest, or if your daughter was in the forest, would you rather have them be lost in the forest with a bear or a guy? Surprisingly, most women will pick a bear, and guys are kind of split between the two answers.
Oh, I see. No, I mean, it is what it is. Whatever happens, is what it is, kind of thing. Like it'll suck if it ruins my relationship because I picked a guy, but it'd suck even more if she died. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
that's true.
I feel like life is so precious and fragile that should not be my want.
The reason why a lot of females would pick the guys, because I think that if there was a random, or pick the bear, sorry, is that if there was a random guy in the forest, like what the fuck is he doing in the forest? Is this guy psychotic? Is he?
I mean, there's hikers.
Crazy? Too. Is he some sort of psycho killer? Is he gonna like do unspeakable things to her, kidnap her, freaking take her, whatever it is? The reason why I picked the bear personally, is because I feel like for consciousness and level of strategic
you're dead
planning.
If the bear's hungry, you're dead, Viv. There's no planning to that.
Okay. Yes, I know. But what if it's not? Versus if there's a random guy.
But what if it's not a random guy then?
Freak?
But
then I feel like we would be on the same playing field in terms of thinking and strategic stuff. But if it was a bear, then yes, the bear would be like super strong, super fast and everything, but at least I can think like strategically. So there's like some sort of chance. But if it was a random guy, then we're like exactly even playing field, or he's just above and on every single way.
So I don't know if I can answer this because I'm not a girl, but a bear will kill you instantly.
Yes.
Like there's no real strategy.
Like what if you see a bear from like really far away?
I would try to run away, but I'd probably die. If that bear wants to kill me, I'm dead. I'm just dead. It is true. If the guy wants to kill you, you may or may not die. Whereas if the bear wants to kill you, you are guaranteed dead. Right? I just think like people have a very delusional idea of a bear because they see them in zoos and not in real life. Like in real life, they're fucking huge, like way bigger than zoos. They're way smarter because they're hunting every day. Or not hunting, but like they're surviving every day.
That is true.
Right? So their instincts are just so much different. They're just gonna fuck you up so hard, so fast. Like they whack a moose, they're it breaks their back, and they just. Okay, you know what's the scariest thing that people don't think about? When an animal kills you, or sorry, when an animal wants to kill you, it'll eat you regardless if you're dead or not.
Oh yeah.
So you might still be alive, and it's eating you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's probably what a bear will do. A bear will probably like hit you in the back so you can't move anymore, or break your legs, and then just start eating.
Just start gnawing on your foot.
Because they don't like they're not humans. Humans will kill the animal and then cook it and then eat it. They'll just literally just like break your legs or break your back and then just like eat whatever part it thinks it wants to eat, like your stomach probably first, right?
That's true.
Which is like
scary.
I don't know. It just feels kind of wild. They're literally just gonna eat you alive. Is essentially how you'll end up dying, right? Like you're lucky if they slap you across the head and they like snap your neck, right?
Yeah.
Then you're kind of like lucky because you don't have to torture, like suffer through that, right?
Yeah.
But it probably won't do that. It'll probably break your back and then it'll probably just eat you alive.
That is true.
Which is like, I don't know, like this might sound
How big
shady.
is a bear?
A bear's huge. I mean, it depends on what bear you were talking.
I used to think bison were fucking huge too. I used to think that they were the same size. No, they're not. I used to think that they're the same size as a yellow bus, but they're small. They're like a smart car.
They're fucking huge still. You know what? Okay, a bison is so thick. You kidding me? Okay.
They are thick.
Okay, let's
Have you been to Elk Island?
Yes, I've seen them at Elk Island. I was terrified.
Terrified. I thought they would be the size. I was expecting them to be the size of a fucking yellow bus.
If that thing rushed me, I might have a chance to like dodge something. But if I'm out in the open, I think I'm dead.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't be able to outrun it, but I'm saying.
It's terrifying.
I thought it'd be significantly bigger.
I mean, yeah, obviously it's not a bus, but like a moose is like as tall as a bus.
Oh yeah.
Did you know
Moose
that?
are
They're like huge, right?
Yes.
So like nature's
Like surprisingly
a lot
huge.
scary. Let me see where I can find its height. Bison. Okay, they typically weigh 900 to 1,200 kilograms. And they can move at 50 kilometers an hour.
Oh shit.
So you can't outrun them. 50 kilometers an hour? Like, I don't think the fastest human can run that
Bison
fast.
are herbivores though, right?
Yeah, but they still, like, their horns were built for a reason. To, like fuck you up if you get near them. Or if you get uncomfortably close to them, right?
Mm.
Okay, anyways, back to the original question. Brown bears. Brown bears are fucking huge. Let's see. Size. Okay. Let's see. Brown bears generally weigh 80 to 600 kilograms. Dude.
Oh shit.
The strongest man could maybe squat a bear. But actually, you probably could. 600 kilos.
I was just thinking I couldn't.
With males outweighing females. They have head and body length of 1.4 to 2.8 meters. So that means you could have a midget bear that's 4'7" tall, or you could have a 9'2" tall bear.
Tall?
That's if they're standing, right?
Oh,
they have a head and body length of 1.4 to 2.8. So if they were to stand up, like stand up on their feet, they could be 9 foot tall.
Shit, that is
like
tall.
what's 9 feet tall? What is 9 feet tall?
9 foot tall ceilings.
Yeah, that's true. So like a typical house thing. It's literally as tall as a house. I'm just trying to like find like a good reference point. Like I can't think about 9 Subway subs right now. Stacked.
Do it compared to a volleyball net.
Okay, let's see. Volleyball men's net height. Okay, the men's net height in a volleyball is 7'11". So that means it's 2 feet taller. So 2 subways above the top of the net. That's pretty tall.
That's pretty tall.
That's pretty scary. Let's see what else. The tail is relatively short. Blah blah blah. Smallest brown bear. Female. This is brown bear though, so this is like the smallest of them. I think black bears are the smallest. Like brown bears, I think are one of the bigger bears.
Which one's more dangerous?
I think
brown bears,
the
right?
polar bear is the most dangerous.
Polar bears?
Black bears are 3 feet tall at the shoulder, and their length from nose to tail is about 70. Oh, no, this might not be like the big ones though. American black bear. Let's see. Oh, there's not going to be a good description for size, I think. See. The length of adult bears. Oh, that's bear skulls. The claws are blah 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 blah. The hind legs are. Fuck. There's no like solid answer here. I mean, it's just not as big. So, yeah. So they weigh was a. Oh no, this is how much they can lift. Oh, size right here. Okay, adults typically range from 47.79 inches in head and body length. Oh, that's not that long. That's tiny. I mean, that's like my height. They're like my height.
Oh wait, yeah.
Yeah. So black bears are smaller. So I guess the question would be, would you rather be with a brown bear or a random dude?
You're right.
Right? I think polar bears are one of the biggest, or at least the most like dangerous. Polar bears are about the same size as 8.2 feet long, so a little smaller than a brown bear. You know why? I think why brown bears are so big? Because they don't have
They're in the woods.
Because they don't have fucking predators. Like they just keep growing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So they just grow to maximum like weight and height. Whereas like I think other bears have more predators. Like the polar bear has to deal with quote unquote climate change and shit and all that stuff, and hunting seals and things. I mean, I think
which one is the most aggressive? Did it say?
I assume it's polar bear. No, I don't want to sort of stuff. We're just talking about bears now, not even our fucking podcast shit. We're just literally just talking about bears. Yo, bears are fucking scary, guys. Bears are so scary. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, 20 to 44 years. So I guess we're in the early adulthood stage, and then partner I think is very important. I think it's pretty fundamental. Like I would love to have. So like I think there's two questions: career or relationship / family. Relationship / family as in like relationship / start a family thing, right?
Yes.
And then I think the older you go, the more the scales tip towards the family one. So the younger you are, the scales are tipped more towards your career. And then as the older you get, I feel like the scale tips the other way now.
On average, I would say. I do know some people that are for sure just career-driven people and don't really care about family.
Yeah.
And some people that have a family or created a family, but they're still significantly more career-driven people than actual family people.
I feel it's so hard to like. Okay, if you're Viv and let's say you made a business and you're super successful and shit like that, right? Your role models are probably people who are older and more successful than you, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like almost all role models or really successful people always say like, oh, having a kid is a life-changing experience and it's the best thing they've ever done. Like not all, but I feel like a lot of them say that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of the say like successful parents that are like also like successful in their careers,
mm-hmm.
I feel like they say that like that they felt like that made them a better person of like being able to succeed what they want to succeed. And then if
do you think it could possibly be also be because when you have kids, it's a decision that you completely cannot reverse on? Like you have to accept it. You have to like it, or it's better if you do like it.
Yeah, I think because
once you have kids, you can never not be a parent ever again for the rest of your fucking life.
Eighth trimester abortion. No, but it's weird because okay, logically speaking, role models and mentors and stuff are the cheat codes of life. Like they will give you guidance and stuff that you haven't experienced yet. Mm-hmm. And if a lot of them, or if not a majority of them, are saying that, it just feels like there's something there that I don't know yet. Right? Like I don't have a kid, so I have no idea what that is. Mm-hmm. But the fact that I listen to these podcasts of these like, you know, successful males or females and them always saying like, yeah, having a kid is like life changing and it made them better, feels like there's something there. Right. Yeah,
like it's something you should listen to. It's very fulfilling in a way that nothing else will ever compare.
But they also kind of say like it helped them not just in their like family life, but it helped boost them as a person for their careers too. Which I feel like is something. Like maybe as soon as you poop out a kid, you get some like unfound empathy for your common people, and then obvious to most people, or I hope obvious to most people, like to do great things, you have to do it with other people, right? Like being a one-man show is very, very difficult in this world right now. Mm-hmm. So it's like you have to work with people. So maybe like in a way, them having a kid gives them that empathy to work with people better to make them like succeed as a team better. Right?
I can see that.
That's me like thinking, trying to like solve the wonder of why they always say that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of them do say that. Like them as in like very successful people. They always say like having a kid's the greatest thing ever and all that stuff. Right. So then it brings me to the question that people who are super successful in their career, would they not kind of like want to tap into that? You know what I mean? Like want to tap into this like extra resource that these people are saying is the best thing ever.
Like
that
if you've maximized everywhere else in your life.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like, oh yeah, if I maximized everywhere else and I've succeeded, and I assume they've had role models and mentors as they've succeeded, like why didn't they tap into that, right?
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, it feels like it's like the next obvious question is like, okay, if you say it's so good and I'm already successful in career, there's no reason why I shouldn't take this chance.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of my thought process. It's just like it's too much of a common thing for me to ignore it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if like a bunch of random people say like, engineering is great, I'll be like, okay, yeah, maybe, right? But like if a bunch of successful people say like, oh, this one thing's really good, then it just makes you think like, oh, do they know something I don't know? And they're clearly better than me at these aspects of life that I have to like take their answer very seriously. Right? So
do you think when it comes to having kids, you personally want kids because you personally desire to take care of a human being, or is it because it seems like the most logical and preferred and recommended way of doing things?
Yeah, I don't currently want kids, but I assume the time I do want one, it will be not for selfish reasons.
Okay, so it'll be the first option.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to raise a kid.
Like that would be the only option I give myself to allow myself to have a kid.
I respect that.
If I have a choice, right?
Yes.
Like if I fuck up and Joyce gets knocked up by me tomorrow, then it's just like, well, it is what it is. Like at this point, I'll be like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm at the age that I can probably support one, so it's like, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's the thing too. I feel like everyone also says like, you're never ready for it.
Yes.
Right. So it's kind of like, how much I can really
argue
prepare
against that. I would feel that you're never as ready as you think you are, but you can be ready to start one.
Yeah. But like, you're never mentally ready for it. Like at that moment, you never think it's like the first moment you get a dog. I feel like no one ever thinks this is the best idea ever. Like the first week after getting a dog, you're like, I've made a mistake.
I can see that.
Yeah. Right. So then I feel like that's probably more intense and similar to getting a kid. So it's like you're never truly ready for it. Right?
I feel like there are some people who absolutely fucking love having kids and they've always dreamed of having kids, and so the whole process of having kids, they're like, oh yeah, I've expected myself to be this tired. It's a little bit more than I expected, but I still like have always dreamt of this moment.
I feel like unless they're a cocky fuck, if you ask them, did you ever have any self-doubt, they'll always say yes. You know what I mean? Like you always have that self-doubt of like, am I ready?
That makes sense.
I feel like no matter who you are at that stage of your life, you'll always like, no matter even if you're a lot older, you'll still always ask yourself it, or you'll always have that self-doubt is like, am I truly ready for this?
I get that because one of my closer friends, Jessica, she has a baby, or they're like over 1 year old, and she also told me at some point, she was like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
And then she's like, my whole life is just being a mom now. And then my other really close friends, Sophie and Colin, they've been on this podcast before. They also mentioned to me that at some point their baby is still like 5 months old or something like that.
Yeah.
At some point at the very beginning, they like held the baby and was like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah. Like there must always be some self-doubt. And I feel like that humility is important. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's what it teaches too, right? Like maybe what they're saying is like a combination of like humility, empathy, sympathy, all these other things that just makes you like understand the human experience a bit better, right? Which makes you potentially a better person in general, to become like a people leader, right? You know what I mean? Like that's me hypothesizing and projecting what I think.
I can see that for sure.
Could be, but yeah, I always do wonder, like even if you do choose the path of just career, like you must have thought about it, because it's like so many of these successful
you see
people
it all around you too.
It's like
right?
Almost everyone who's successful has a kid. Like that's a fact that I can almost say, right? It's like Elon Musk has many kids, right?
It's like fucking 8 or 9
like
or some shit.
I don't think there's ever been a president that doesn't have a kid. So every president probably had a kid before they became president, right? At least one, right? Some of them are like grandparents by the time they're...
Andrew Huberman doesn't.
Yeah, I think that's why he's failing. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, I the other day our mutual friend who's a pharmacist, she told me like, yeah, it's I think they've changed the age for geriatric pregnancy now to like 40 years old.
Oh shit!
I was like, motherfuckers, everyone doubted me. You know how back then during COVID, I was like, oh, I hypothesize that it's like now that everyone's getting older, we have to think about time and the milestones of life differently.
Yes.
Right. So like if you're gonna live to 100 instead of 80, you got to think about when you decide that this is my career, or when you decide you have kids, or when you decide all these things a little bit differently, because the scale is different. Because 65 may not be retirement age anymore, right? If you live to 100 and you retire 65, that's like 35 years of fucking around, right?
I mean, I personally think that working all the way up until you're too fucking old to really do anything, is pretty fucking stupid.
I mean, I think I would do that. I would work even part time till I'm
like, I would say work, but not in the sense of like working because you need to.
Yeah. But then, so that's the difference, right? Because I think the rule they did about 65 years old being retirement age, I think like life expectancy was like probably like 70 or 80. So like you got 5-10 years left, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now if you have 35 years left, you really got to rethink everything, right? Like, oh, maybe I should actually retire when I'm 80, and maybe I should have kids like when I'm a bit older too. Right? Like you just have to expand everything out a bit if life expectancy is also going to expand, or like health span is going to expand, right?
Makes sense.
So then now I think she said, now that I assume because of modern medicine, like geriatric nurse or pregnancy is now instead of 35, I think it's like 40 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what she said. I didn't really search it up, but I kind of believe that. I was like, yeah, I can see that being a thing. Like
I can definitely see that. I feel like if somebody has a kid before they're 28, I would say, right now, most people, the general idea from what I get is that people would be like, oh, that's so early.
Yeah, even though back then that's like, oh, dude, you're saggy old vagina now.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I feel like now it's around like 29, 30s when you have your first kid.
That's like,
your second one when you're like 31, dude, 32.
Okay, even if you think about it this way, if you had a kid at 40,
like
if you had a kid at 40, by the time they graduate university, or by the time they graduate high school, you'll only be 58. And thinking about like, you know how like 50 is the new 40, 40 is the new 30, all that shit. Yeah. It's like, that doesn't seem that old anymore, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? So like, if your kids graduate at 58 and let's say they take another 5 years to finish university, like they might be out of the house before you're even 65. Which isn't like such a wild thing to think about. And like, you know, it seems like, oh, okay, that's not too bad to have a kid at that age now, because it's not going to be crazy, right? And then if you're going to live to 100, say, you know, hope your health span lasts that long, you still have another like 40 years with your kid. Like your kid will have kids by the time you die, ideally, right?
That's true.
So I mean, that's how I'm staying optimistic, because like I don't really want kids right now. So
when do you think you'll have kids?
I don't know. I kind of give myself like 4 or 5 years now. No, I'm thinking about it. I was like, I think that's pretty reasonable. I think that's enough, you know, fucking around time and like just figuring out what I want time, right? If it's earlier, whatever, it is what it is. If it's later, again, it is what it is. Like I'm not putting that like a hard number. But to me, it's like, yeah, I think that's a pretty comfortable number. It's kind of up to her. Like if she wants it earlier, she wants it earlier. If she wants it later.
What if she said she wanted it next year?
I'm like, well, you're gonna have to figure out ways to pay for it, because, you know, I'm not poor, but we may be poor as a unit. But I myself, if I was to just sustain my own life, I am very well off. But if I had to sustain several lives, then we may be living with scraps, frugally, you know? Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a very fair question, right? Like if she does want it, then the question is like, all right, like between now and 12 months from now, we just got to figure out how to pay for it. And then, I mean, I'm pretty maxed out, or like pretty close to maxed out in my potential of salary. So it's going to be up to you to like max yours out a bit more. And then we can, you know, figure the rest out. But also I feel like my generation and me myself are like we're fucking spoiled as fuck. Like my parents would support the shit out of me. Like if I told them like, hey, I'm struggling, you know, and you know I want a kid now and stuff, they'll be, oh yeah, sure, yeah. Grandkids love it, right?
It's amazing. My parents would be like, yeah, good luck.
Really? I think my parents are at the age that they just want more and more grandkids.
That's amazing.
That's what I feel like. Like I might be wrong about that, but I also feel like that's same with Joyce's parents too. Like I feel like it's the same for both parents, because we're both the youngest, right? So to us, like I feel like they care less about all the other shit, and it's just like, yeah, it's just, you know, happy family and grandkids.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I always thought. I mean, I was talking to our friend. She's like, in China, it's actually very common to have a kid and then get married. I thought that wasn't the case.
Really?
She said when they went for their wedding photos in China, like they said it's very common to either be pregnant during their wedding or already have a kid before their wedding.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I was like, well,
why?
I don't know. I couldn't, like, she said she didn't know. She just like talked to the people there, and that's what they said.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was a very cool. I personally like that concept.
You personally like it?
I think it's cooler because it like the whole getting married part is just like a thing, whereas like getting a kid is very important. So it's like I'd rather do that first and then figure that. Like if I had $50,000 to spend on something and the choice was a wedding or a kid, I'd probably pick kid. Like if someone gave me $50,000 and they said you had to pick one of the two, I'd be like probably kid. I don't care for the wedding that much.
Yeah.
Right. So then that just means like for me, maybe as a guy, I don't care about the marriage as much as the actual, product of the marriage, let's say.
I agree. I think the goal shouldn't be getting married. It should be having an actual good marriage.
Like, I feel like I've not known for a fact, but I've seen some like failed marriages just for whatever reason. But I've also seen couples with kids that get married later on and they're perfectly happy. Like it wasn't the defining factor. Right?
I don't think it should be.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So then I feel like the less you make it the defining factor, the better it'd be. Right. So I was like, yo, that's a fucking cool concept. I think that's very, I don't know. Like some people say, oh, you're trying to avoid responsibilities. Like that's not the case. Like I'm still responsible for the kid.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't want to fucking get the government involved in my fucking relationship is all.
I get it.
Yeah. Anyways, going on with our last bit since we gotta finish this up. Middle adulthood, the virtues is care, psychosocial crisis is generativity versus stagnation, significant relationship is household workmates, and then existential question is, can I make my life count? That's interesting. I don't know if
that is so interesting. Can I make my life count? I feel like that, I would say that would be significantly. Oh, that's probably your midlife crisis, eh?
Kind of. Like, like, oh, I'm just fucking doing these shitty jobs for whatever. I want to do something that actually matters at that time of age, I assume. But also at that time of age, you'll probably want grandkids too.
I would expect around the quarter age line, there would also be the existential crisis or existential question would also be kind of similar because I feel like a lot of people have a quarter life crisis-ish.
Yeah, I think... So I don't know what exactly, but something did change between 1950s and now that made this these 8 stages, like Erikson's 8 stages, not accurate in terms of numbers anymore. You know what I mean? Like one, there might be an extra stage. What you're talking about, there might be an extra stage somewhere like between adolescence and early adulthood, or no, between early adulthood and middle adulthood. And then 2, these numbers of age just doesn't correspond to reality anymore.
I feel like that makes more sense.
Yeah, it's just like something, maybe it's social media, maybe it's technology, but something has very much changed the dynamics of this whole stage and Erikson's 8 stages of life thing. And then late adulthood, 65 and above, is like about wisdom, ego, integrity versus despair, significant relationship, humankind, my kind, and then existential question, is it okay to have been me? Oh, that's cool. So it's like more reflection on yourself.
Like, did I live this life?
I mean, unless you committed genocide or something, I feel like it's pretty good. I mean, I
feel like some people can live a life full of regret and doing things that aren't true to who they are as a person. And I imagine when you're about to die or on the last leg of your life, this would be something that you would reflect a lot more on. Like, okay, everything I did in life, is this what I've wanted? Yeah.
I mean, so aside from genocide, it'd be like, if you didn't accept your gay son or...
Oh, yeah, and you don't talk to him. You haven't seen him in like 40 years.
Yeah, but I think it all surrounds relationships, to be honest. Not like any achievements. It's more like, did I treat the people I should have treated right?
I agree.
Like, I think
Am I the person I want to be?
Yeah, I think that question of, is it okay to have been me, isn't even about you. It's all about, like, was I good to the people that I loved?
So interesting. I personally would feel more related to, is it okay to have been me?
Oh, really?
Because I would feel like, or throughout my whole life from growing up until now, and I think well until the rest of my life, I've always thought about like, oh, is this how I want Viv to be? Or like, oh, what do I want my life to be like? Like when I'm at my deathbed, essentially, and I look back, how do I want things to unfold?
I see.
And so I think that would be a lot more closer to, is it okay to have been me, over like, how have I treated the people in my life?
Oh, I think mine would be, how have I treated people? So like, I'm obviously not near there. I hope I'm not near there. But I would think, okay, I haven't been to many funerals, let's say. I've been to some, and I just feel like that's I feel like that was just the essence of it. It's like a good person was just like they treated the people right. I'm not saying they treated them like well, but they treated them as in like properly, right? Like the people who deserved and got it, and the people who didn't deserve and didn't get it, right? Well, whatever it is and whatever the people were, right? And then I just felt like all the achievements and all the shit they did, that's great, but I felt like that was second to the relationships. In the funerals I've been to, I feel like the relationships were like the biggest thing.
Oh, or else no one would be at the funeral.
No one else would be at a funeral, but no, like, yeah, you could have been a fucking astronaut, but no one would care about your life if you were a dick.
It's true.
Right? So, like, no one would have a good eulogy for you. Like, your eulogy would be like, you were one of the greatest astronaut ever. The end. Like, you survived by no kids, survived by no wife, whatever.
Oh, that is so
like,
true.
You know what I mean? Like, but then you could also have no kids, no wife or anything, but you were just a really good person. So many people would, like, actually talk about that. Or, like, force and go out of their way to want to talk about that. They'll be like, this guy was the best guy ever, and you know, yeah, he would help me in these situations, etc., right? And I felt like whenever I went to a funeral, I felt like that was what mattered more, rather than, oh, this guy was the president of this thing, or this guy was a CEO of this thing, or this guy invented this thing.
Oh, for sure.
I felt like all of that was like second to like, oh, he was a good father, he was a good husband, or she was a good wife, she was a good mother. Right? I feel like that was like the fundamental thing, like looking from my side of it as like someone who attending, I was like, that was way more important than achievements.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it just eclipsed it completely, right? Like I couldn't care less if he was just a janitor, right? So that's how I felt like it, which is why I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting they have that as a question, but maybe I'm thinking it wrong or something.
No, I can for sure. Like 100%, your point is pretty solid. I know of a friend who knows somebody who has passed away who wasn't exactly everyone's favorite person.
Yeah.
And so I can definitely see what you mean by it really matters on how you treat the people around you too, because when you're at your funeral, it's very different when that person doesn't have a lot of people that would be there to naturally support them.
Yeah. It's also different. Like, you could have a lot of people, but it may not matter. Like,
or people that genuinely care.
Yeah. Like, it's so important, I think, to have those 2-3 people who is like, would really stick their neck out and like do all that shit for you.
I think so too. Because
like, yeah, you could be a very like popular person, but I feel like all those people who attended because you were popular, yeah, it's like going to, like, if Shakira ever died, going to her funeral, there'd be like millions of people, all the Latino people in the world, would cry for her, but like only 2 or 3 people would actually truly know her.
Yeah.
And this is again me projecting. If I was her, I would only care about those 2 or 3 people.
I agree.
Right? So like, I wouldn't care about the million people that came. I only care about those 2 or 3 people that came.
I'd be the same.
Yeah. So then I guess that for me, that would be the fundamental question. Would be at that stage, I would be like, did I treat the people I did right? And it's almost like too late to fix it, right? Like, you either did or you didn't. Like, I would hope you would try to fix it still. Like, you would make amends at that point, because there's no other point. Like, there's no other time to forgive and like, that's it. You're either dead and you hold a grudge, or you can die and you can forgive, right? That's what I think, at least. I just don't want to. That's how I want to kind of treat my life. It's like, I just don't want to be a dick. Like, I'm okay if I'm indifferent to you. Like, I'm not an asshole to you, but I really don't care about you.
Yeah.
That I'm okay with. But then if I do like you as a person, I want to treat you well. Right?
I can see
and that. I don't like. My personal goal is to be indifferent to most and loving to the few that I really love, right? Because I feel like you only have so much energy to give.
Oh yeah. I feel like even throughout the years that I've known you, you've been more caring in general to people, like a little bit more.
Oh, like less of a dick, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's what you're trying to say. You're less of a dick now, Alvin. Yeah, no, 100%. I think. I mean, I'm not trying to brag about that, but I was like, I feel like I don't want to make any enemies, even though they might be people everyone hates. I still don't want to make enemies. I mean, even like, I always think about that stuff. I was like, fuck, it doesn't affect me. Like, Like back then, I would like take your tea and I would like stew in that shit. I'm like, yo, yeah, that person's a fucking dick. But then now I'm just like, I don't even know that person. Like, like I know it through your lens, and that could be completely different. The only difference is like when I meet that person that you really dislike, I might take everything they say with a grain of salt. But I won't. I would try not to judge as much. But at the same time, if I really care about you, then I would want to be on your team.
That makes sense.
Because like that relationship is more important than like the relationship between us would be more important than that relationship between me and that person. Like yeah, right. Because it's like, oh, if I'd be really good friends with that person, like
kind of like loyalty, right?
Yeah, like I'm like that's like a fuck you to your face, right? I mean, sometimes I would do it for fun. Like back in the day, like I would show my friends so hard. Like, yo, this guy's great. I know what you're talking about. But then if it actually like really affected someone, then I wouldn't stick my nose into it.
I can see it. I
just try to stay very, very indifferent. I was just like, this is your beef, not mine.
I can see it.
Yeah. I mean, interesting. This whole stage thing, I feel like I should have researched it before we even did the fucking podcast.
That was really cool to talk through.
Because I agree with maybe like 80% of it. Like I didn't agree with the numbers, and then some of the stages I felt it was a little off of what I think it is.
I think it's definitely a little off.
It's like dated, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not wrong, it's just dated.
Yes.
It's like how biology used to know this much facts, and now that it knows this much more, it could be more precise and confident in what it knows.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like everything needs to be like, you need to add like 5-10 years to every single thing.
Yeah. I'm actually very excited to finish that podcast too.
I'm very excited for you. I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah.
I would have sent it to you if I knew you would be into listening to these kind of things. Normally I only tell you about like scientific or hard fact podcasts.
Yeah, I used to not care about other people's opinions at all. So like if you sent me something back then, I'd be like, fuck this shit, I'm not reading this. I'm not gonna waste 2 hours of my life. But then now I'm just like trying to open my mind to stuff a bit more. I also feel like I have periods of that and periods of the other way. Like I have periods of time when I'm more open-minded and periods of time where I'm more closed-minded. And usually like the closed-mindedness is usually combined with like being very busy. So if I'm super busy, I was like, I don't want to learn new shit. I don't want to do any of this shit. I have to just get the shit I already have to do done. And then periods where I'm a bit more free. It's almost like being bored. Periods where I'm a bit more bored, I'm more open-minded to like think new things and learn new things. I feel like that's the whole...
You're bored right now?
I mean, recently at work, it's been not boring. Like only the last week, because I finally got the shit back from the other work people. So I've been not busy recently, but yeah, I've been. I wouldn't say bored. Just not doing as much. So then I've been more open minded to like learning different things. Yeah, which is cool. I mean, I always like learning. It just sucks because like I know I want to like push my career right now while I'm still young.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like a stopgap right now. And then recently, actually today, I just went to like the volunteer event, like Engineering Day of Caring.
Oh, cool. What was that?
It's just we went to this place, and then there's like 80 of us engineers from all these different companies, and we just help them renovate. Like there's already a team that already planned all the shit, and we just have to go and do the work.
Sick.
But yeah, it was cool because it's just like, fuck, man. Sometimes I think about it and I want to push myself so hard. It's like I want to like learn new shit, do new shit every day, and like, you know, like learn 5 different programs and like, you know, be the best I'm at. And then these guys have worked for like 20, 30 years. But like, dude, I'm still so young. Like young as like my career. Like I'm still so early. Like, like I can't, I could learn all that shit now, but if I don't apply it, doesn't even matter. And then if you give yourself such short amount of time, you can't learn and apply it properly. Right? So it's like, fuck. Like a part of me wants to learn and push myself. A part of me wants to be like, yo, you got to actually do it right.
Sometimes I think about that too, but for me, I personally think like, okay, but if you want to get like even bigger, then you have to get even bigger fast, like earlier. Yeah,
it's like the mindset. It's like, yo, how do I become Elon Musk, right?
And
all that shit. But then at the same time, like maybe I'm copiuming. But sometimes I also think about like, you know, most actors don't get famous till they're like 40s, right? So it's like,
that's true.
I'm not saying I'm an actor, but it's like, you know, give yourself a little bit of breathing room here.
Give yourself some grace.
Yeah, exactly. It's like give yourself a little bit of chance to like think and explore and learn about yourself a bit more. Because like you're just learning things that company needs, but not yourself right now, right? And that's, I think, might be wrong. Like who knows? Like you won't know until you're in the future, right?
Yeah.
But it might be wrong because like it is true too. Like some of the most successful people are so good at their niche, and they probably just, you know, had to learn that thing, right? They didn't learn all these random company things. They just learned what they were, and then they applied what they were into what they did. Whereas right now, I'm just like trying to learn all this shit to like help other fucking companies. Which at the end of the day, like on my deathbed, I wouldn't care. Right.
But maybe one certain thing will stick. And
yeah. I mean, the role I have right now is really cool. Just being like a hybrid role right now, so that's fun.
My role, but I personally, I have my grip with it now.
I mean, it's ups and downs. Just gotta keep going. I mean, you just appreciate the boredom sometimes too.
That's true. It's kind of crazy because in my office right now, there's 10 people that are sick.
Oh yeah,
I've been sick all week.
Oh, it's from
and
you.
They're all techs.
Oh yeah, it's from you.
No, it's actually not from me.
Oh really?
They all blame this one other guy.
Swine flu or something? Or?
I have no idea, but apparently this one other guy went on site, and then apparently the people on site were really sick. And he came back, and he was the first person. They said he was the first person they call off sick.
Yeah.
But then I actually took a sick day like the day before he did.
Oh, so it's you.
So I personally said it was me, but everyone thinks it's actually him because they're like, no, you don't understand. He was dying, and you've been sick this whole time. And then because mine might not be because of me, because mine should just be bronchitis.
Allegedly, yeah.
I went to a doctor's. Said it was bronchitis. And bronchitis. Lie. You're right. Okay, bronchitis that is not contagious. Yeah. But his is full on something.
Oh yeah. Monkeypox.
Yes, for sure.
Some fucked up shit.
Yeah, who knows? But anyway,
do you think people are still offended nowadays? Like sometimes I feel like for example on Monday I was feeling a bit like I was explaining earlier how like Sunday I felt like a little bit not full on fever but like a little warmer, headache a little bit, and then I just fucking pulled it back Sunday night. Got back to good on Monday, but then Monday afternoon feeling just a little bit, like a lot less than Sunday, but still a little bit, and then I still went to volleyball. But I feel like back then people got so offended if you did that. But now, I don't know. They'd
be like, why are you here if you're sick?
Yeah, you're like, you're fucking Hitler. You're genociding us with your sickness.
I get home now because I was coughing.
Yeah, but I also hope people aren't offended. Because I just feel like, dude, like, the flu's uncontrollable. Like, it's like no matter how much you try, if it's airborne, it's like, it's going to happen to you.
I mean, yeah. But personally for me, if I feel like I'm really contagious, then I won't go around people.
Yeah. But it's like you could be contagious without feeling the symptoms.
That is true.
Right. So it's like, what can you do about it? Kind of thing.
That is true.
So I just hope people aren't offended because I don't give
Me too.
fuck because I just do everything whenever I'm not sick. Like when I'm sick, I actually take a rest and shit.
Yes.
But as soon as I'm good, I'm out there doing my stuff.
I agree. As long as I'm good physically enough to like do shit, then yeah.
I
have skipped the gym for this entire like week.
Oh yeah.
A half-ish though, which feels kind of gross. I can feel my muscles
atrophying.
That's what I feel like it is. But I feel like your muscles don't atrophy that fast after a week.
I also don't think so. I think it's
maybe
growing.
It's just restlessness.
Yeah, I think it's restlessness. You gotta like put it to something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like either like thinking intensely or like going for a run or some shit. I think that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. That's fine. I think that's it. This is a pretty long podcast, anyways. Anything else you want to say?
I'm excited for you to listen to the rest of the podcast.
Oh, I think before the podcast you said you were reading Red Rising. I'm excited for you to.
Oh yes.
Okay, this is my dream, guys. Guys, I'm telling you, if you guys are listeners, this is my dream. I want my own book club. My own book club that they read everything I read. I want them to read everything I read because
should start something. Create like a fucking Notion page.
Because I feel like I wouldn't recommend a book if it's not amazing, and I feel like it's so amazing that everyone should read it. That being said, I get it. Other people might think other books are amazing, and I'm taking their thoughts too. I'm taking opinion, guys. If you guys want me to read a specific book, I promise I won't completely finish the X-Men series, which I only have like 2 books left after this book, and I'm going to finish this book this weekend. That's like, I think 8 or 9 books down of the X-Men. The next book I'm reading is one that Joyce recommended, so I'm going to finish that one. And I will take any other recommendations, but please understand this, guys. The book is from some stupid teenage romance bullshit. I can't read it. I get too stressed out.
I get it.
I just need something very like adult and logical book. Like minimal plot holes, let's just say. And I promise you I'll read it if you recommend it and you fit those criteria. But if it's related to some female wanting to fuck a werewolf or a vampire, I can't do it, guys. I can't. I'm sorry.
That's so unfortunate.
But yeah, that's my dream, is to have my own book club.
My favorite 5 books I can no longer recommend to you.
This is the one that I did read, 2 of the 5 books.
I'm just kidding. I fucking hate vampire shit.
Oh,
vampires God. And zombies? No.
I feel like part of
fairies. Fuck yeah.
What was the book series you recommended to me? I forgot what it was called.
City of Bones.
Oh yeah. So I feel like that caused some slight anxiety and depression during COVID for me. Like that series, those books I read was so dumb, and it promoted what was it called again? What was it when you like fuck your own family members?
Incest.
It promoted incest, vampire fucking, just all this stuff that I didn't care for, and I thought was wrong and gross. So yeah, that's all. That's all I want to say, guys. I want my own book club. So if you guys can read the books, Red Rising, Jade Wars, Game of Thrones, The Expanse, they're all cool books. I would be much appreciated.
I read Jade after.
Yeah, no, you can just borrow from Butch. He's on book 2 right now.
Oh shit!
I don't know how much he's reading right now with schooling, true. But we'll figure that out. All right, cool. That's all we have for today. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Bye.